it's an addiction. First, it's the money. The money is just, you see it coming in and you're just like,
you don't have a lot of money. When it happens, you're like, this is life-changing.
Well, yeah, so you go through phases just like you go into phases in life. So first, it's the money that grabs you. Then it's just, it's just whatever. Then it's the lifestyle. So it turns into now everybody's calling you, you're getting all the gossip, you're invited to all the parties.
You're important.
You're important. I'm probably 6-8 months in. I'm starting to push, like a good month is probably like 15 bricks. I'm making average $5,000 off each one of them. Strip clubs, doing all the fun stuff, going out. Easy money goes fast. You look around, you're like, man, I know I made 10 grand this week. Where did it all go? Because you're not earning it. You're not working hard for it. There's no respect for it. It just goes as fast as it comes.
Today, we're going to talk about real estate, but we're going to talk about real estate in a way you've never expected. When you think of real estate developers, you think about one thing. Maybe you think about you, or maybe you think about me. But do you think about guys traveling around, getting out of Ferraris, in and out of helicopters, duffel bags of cash, pill mills, backpacks full of cocaine? Do you think about that? Probably not. You haven't talked to Jason Votrobek yet. Jason, welcome.
How you doing today? That was a good intro.
There we go.
You killed it. I like
it. I
it.
appreciate the guidance. Man, I've had fun hanging out this afternoon. We had a schedule that just got completely whacked, but I've gotten some time to chat with you, but I've intentionally kept stuff off the agenda because I wanted to spend time doing it this way because it's so much more fun. I stumbled across you on Instagram or one of the platforms. I'm like, this guy is a storyteller, but you're talking about real estate. I thought that was your main thing. And the more I listen, I'm like, holy cow, that was a piece over here. There is so much more going on.
Yeah, real estate's the main way to, like we're going to get into, laundering money. And then it turned into about 10 different things of real estate. And you learn, well, we'll get into it. Just like we talked earlier today, real estate is not as easy as people make it out to be. And I had to learn the hard way, but I was doing it for one reason. And we'll get into that.
We'll get there. So I'm starting to get to know Jason, but why don't you talk to our guests and tell them, who's Jason? Where did Jason come from?
I'm from a small town, Vero Beach, Florida. I'm about a little over an hour north of West Palm Beach. It's known for cattle and citrus and drug smuggling. So in the 80s, I was born in 83, so by the late 80s, I'm hanging around dad, around campfires, stuff like that. Come from a small town, so camping, hunting, stuff like that. So we'd be at the camp. And all everybody wanted to talk about is all the local drug smuggling stories, like the stuff that they pulled off or what they did or what somebody else had go on, a bust.
Dude, that's like the culture. I never thought about that. Yeah. That's like what's happening.
So, you think about today, now it's like what's going on with the reality TV shows, like the Atlanta Housewives and, LA ones and all the drama going on and stuff like that. So the drama back then with all the men is, hey, you hear about such and such get busted, or did you hear about what's his name plane go down? So, I'm this little kid listening to these stories like just, I'm all ears. I just want to hear it. Let's keep it coming. So the one that intrigued me the most that I always get stuck on and I talk about, especially when I was telling the screenwriters that I'm working on something big, and I was like, there's this one particular story, because he asked me, he's like, what drawed you to this? And I was like, well, there was this plane that was coming in, they were doing an offload, and they put on autopilot, and they were kicking the bells out of it, and it clipped the top of one tree that was higher than the rest of them, and crashed. So the guys in it actually lived, but they were pretty mangled up from what I understand, and they were begging for their lives, like, please just drop us off, we won't tell, or nothing like that, and they're like, no, so they dinged some gas, and they lit them up. And to cover their tracks. They ended up getting away with it too. It made the news down there. It was pretty big. It shut a lot of operations down. So that was like the one that everybody was talking about. And it really grabbed my attention about, ooh, this sounds like fun and crazy. And he's like, you thought that was fun and crazy? I'm like, well, not the gas part, but like the whole thrill of what was going on and how everybody was talking about it made it like so interesting. Yeah, excitement to it. Then you hear about the other ones where they're kicking them out, like, these guys would cut fences on people's ranches and go in there and drop planes down and sneak out and get the drugs out and, drop them over the marshes and pick them up.
You're attracted to the excitement, the enthusiasm, the energy.
Well, they made it exciting. I mean, think about a bunch of grown men around a campfire talking about all these stories.
You're looking up to them.
Yeah, I'm looking up to them. I think they're cool. It's my dad and all of his buddies, and I'm just sitting there and
What was your dad's profession at this time in your life?
My grandfather owned a very successful company, and my dad pretty much worked for his dad. He was offered. They wanted my mom.
So dad was friends with these guys, but wasn't in the trade.
No, because they all grew up together in a small town. So my dad was like a wealthy kid growing up. So he was like one of the cool kids. Always had new cool stuff.
Got it.
And so he was in the inner circle. My mom had told me multiple times that he was offered to. They wanted him to come and run with them all the time, but dad had money. He didn't care.
Yeah.
He didn't need it. He had mom and dad's money, so he didn't really care about doing it. Which I'm glad he did it, because then life would have got even harder, because everybody ended up going down pretty much.
That's the story of everybody.
Yeah, nobody ever
Long-term
lasts.
prison or die.
Matter of fact, the guy that actually burnt the plane, he never went to prison.
He was one of the rare ones.
And he's very successful in our hometown to this day. It's in
that culture in Florida from the 70s to the 90s or late 80s maybe. It's crazy.
Late 70s, early 80s is when it got big to, early 90s. My grandparents lived on this particular road that was very successful business people. I mean, to this day, my grandparents have the biggest swimming pool in Indian River County. It's bigger than an Olympic-sized swimming pool. So, we had a high dives, lower diving boards, twirl slide in it and stuff like that. So,
wait a sec. So dad didn't go into this profession because he had some money, but you're his son, so you're not living hard.
No, but we're not living good though either, because dad didn't care about having a lot of nice stuff. Dad just wanted an easy life. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like if he
so
had
he
a
can
house,
easy coast, but not living the high life because mom and dad aren't giving him everything.
they're not giving them everything, but every one of our houses, vehicles, everything were bought and paid for by grandma and grandpa. So, they were controlled by them. So everything that my dad and my parents did had to answer to them, type thing. So the main thing is like, so next door to my grandparents, they lived on 5 acres, had a big house, swimming pool, and then they had the guest house out back. And the next door neighbor was a big time attorney. And I remember as a young kid, him having a Lamborghini in like late 80s out there ripping donuts in a road in front of the house in late 80s. So, and you got to remember, I mean, them Lamborghinis back then looked like the car in Back to the Future. You're like, they were crazy looking. And so I grew up around all these people that were all drug smugglers, and they all had big money. I mean, they were all filthy rich, doing crazy stuff. So later, I didn't realize it then that it excited me as much as they did. I thought it was more just like being a cool kid, listen to the big, the grown-ups talk, they're talking, you just want to be involved in it.
Yeah.
So they were in a period of time that I didn't think about it. It all went away. Everybody got busted. The whole drug thing went away in the early 90s. When I say early 90s, like 92, 93 maybe at the latest.
So you're in early high school?
No.
Late middle school?
I'm in grade school or middle school. You got to think I'm 10 years old at this point, 9, 10 years old at this point. So it pretty much died off around 8 or 9, I'd say. So it kind of went away. Everybody's parents, a lot of buddies' parents are, gone, dads. And it wasn't until my friends started experimenting. You got to remember, I'm the youngest in the group. So they started experimenting with pot and stuff like that. So I was smoking pot around 13, 14 years old. Well, the time I was 15, I was thinking like, well, I mow all the yards in the neighborhood. I'm mowing yards, making money, but, you're making $10 a yard. You're doing a lot of work for nothing. You're not making much money, but it was a lot of money for, a 15-year-old back then doing decent. So why not make some extra money? So I got into the drug business. This is when it came full circle.
I got into the drug business. It almost sounds like someone says, I got into soccer. I got into college.
Yeah.
Got into the drug business.
Well, I mean, you got to think of it this way. So all your friends are smoking pot, doing weed. And it's like, why not be the one that gives it to them and make the money?
There was a business sense is kind of like starting to happen at a young age.
Well, yeah.
The entrepreneurial spirit is like alive at this point already.
Well, everybody in my family owned a business. My grandfather owned multiple companies on my mom's side.
I told you earlier, like you think big and this was in your blood.
Yeah. So the thing is so I was like, well, I'm not going to do it, so I might as well sell it. And not even thinking about the consequences. So I get
the consequences never crossed your mind at all at that point.
No, they didn't. They really didn't because, you got to remember, when you're at that age, life is careless. You're not thinking about consequences to anything. Why do you think such young kids are so talented in sports? And doing all the extreme sports? Because they're not thinking about what they're doing. So the more you think about, say, for instance, you're going to pull off a double backflip on a bicycle or dirt bike or something.
Yeah,
it's all about committing. So these kids have no brain cells, and you're just like, wow, what's name did? I'm going to go pull this off. So the rule of thumb to anything that you do is committing. If you don't commit and you second guess yourself, you usually mess up, and that's when things go bad. You hear Travis Strana, everybody say that. It's all about committing. So my whole thing is that I got into it, I bought it, I was not successful.
What did committing this look like though? Like you met somebody who has it and you cut your first deal. Did they front it to you? Did you pay cash?
No. So I took my money from mowing lawns. I went to school. I was going to school. I was in middle school or ninth grade. I think it was ninth grade. Yeah, it was ninth grade. I just started driving. I remember that. I just started driving. I think I had my permit or something like that. And my brother was 3 years older than me. So whenever my parents would go to work or something like that, on speculative weekends, like say summer and stuff like that, if he was home sleep, he loved to sleep till like 12 o'clock. So remember this. I didn't. So whenever he would, my parents would leave in the morning, I'd jump in his truck and take off. So I'm 14 years old, cruising the block, riding around town in this truck. So I ended up going and picking up a quarter pound. So I took the money that
that's not a small first couple purchases.
Yeah, but I mean, you're talking about low grade.
I guess it was everywhere we were at.
Well, no, not necessarily that. It's real low grade weed. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's real low grade. And of course I got screwed over. I pretty much got robbed without getting robbed. So I went to school with this one kid that I got in school for a long time, black kid. And his cousin was he's like, my cousin can hook you up, da-da-da-da-da. Well, yeah, they set me up. So I ended up meeting up with him. I got it. I didn't know what I was doing. I never smoked pot. I didn't know nothing about it. I was just like, they do.
Just looking for a product.
I was just looking for a product. He said he can get it. So I took him the money. Of course, I get it. I take it back to my buddy that knows what he's doing. We put it out on the table to start, breaking it down. Well, they put a bunch of stems and seeds in the middle. Put all this bull stuff in there. So here I am getting screwed now. So now I'm starting to sell it, and I need to recoup some of it. So I went and bought some better stuff to mix with it because it was kind of like, it wasn't so great. And then I started to have a problem getting rid of it, and ended up getting. So one of my buddies seen where I had put it, and they stole a bunch of it.
Dang, you have like all the bad experiences in the drug trade, like right from the beginning.
Right from the beginning. So now I need to recoup some of my money. So some of the boys that was buying the weed from me, they were stealing like four-wheelers and stuff and dirt bikes, and they would like take them and like just ride them until they couldn't ride no more, hide them in the woods, and then just junk them. They wouldn't do nothing with them. Well, the boys in the hood and these other guys I knew they would take them, especially the dirt bikes and stuff like that. They wanted them. So I was like, I got somebody that would buy them. And they were just like, just give me some weed and you can have it. So I would go sell it to them. Well, them boys ended up getting busted soon. Well, guess what they did? They told on everybody. So I got hemmed up in one of the dirt bikes. Matter of fact, the person that put me in prison at the very end is the one that put me in prison the first time.
Oh, gosh. Did you remember?
Well, yeah, we all grew up together. So I didn't realize. So what happened is one of the dirt bikes,
small town, small world.
Well, yeah, so I bought these plastics. So these boys had stole a dirt bike, took the plastics off of them. And I ended up buying these plastics. They were like the newest, coolest, clean, and, off of a new bike. And my dirt bike was an older one. So I got the plastics to put on my dirt bike, make it look nice. Well, somebody told, when them boys got busted, they said I had the plastics. So when they came to the house with the cops, I had them on my dirt bike. And that's what ended up getting me, sealed the deal of me getting arrested. So that's where it all started. They tried to put everything on me, even the drugs and everything, saying they're trading, but they didn't catch me with no drugs. They only caught me with the stolen stuff. So they tried to get me in on all the stolen stuff that I sold, dealing stolen property. And I ended up taking it to trial, but the thing in juvenile is it's trial in front of a judge, not in front of a jury.
Oh, yeah, bench trial.
Yeah, so I beat all the charges. He throws all the charges out besides the dealing and stolen property. And I ended up getting a level 6, and I thought it was going to be a 6-month program like everybody else, but no, it was 9 months.
Yes, I know. These real estate stories are crazy. And yes, I do have a coaching program where a lot of these folks have built a business or revived their own. Look, do these testimonials sound like something that you want to be your story? Look, it is possible. If you're ready or you think you're ready, why don't you listen to the video and at least find out if it's for you? It's linked down in the comments in this episode, so go check it out.
And it was Martin County Boot Camp. And when I tell you hell, there's just not a word on it. And juvenile prison is probably the worst. I've been to some county jails. I've been to every prison, some bad ones. Nothing has anything on juvenile. It's that bad. Them kids.
You're young. Oh,
yeah.
man.
I just turned 16. So I didn't get to, ninth grade was the last grade I went to in high school. I didn't even get to go to high school. I graduated in juvenile prison.
Whoa,
So
you were there for 9 months and you did your studies while you were there?
Yeah, well, no, I turned 9 months into a couple years, right at almost 2 years.
Oh, man, you're digging a hole deeper.
Well, so you got to remember, these kids, their dads are in prison, mom's on drugs or whatever, don't care. They're called state babies. They have nowhere to go. Grandma wants nothing to do with them. So these kids have nothing. So here I come in with a family. I get money on my books. I get visitation. They don't like it. So it's causing problems. So I get in a bunch of fights. I end up catching 7 more battery charges. So I go from Martin County to EYDC or EIHH. I get in a fight the first day there, catch 2 more battery charges. Then they send me to, so I'm getting sent to a higher level. And every time I go back to the juvenile thing, get booked, sit there for a while, then I go to the next program. So I ended up timing out. So they had to release me at 18 years old. So what they did was they released me a couple months before 18 on some type of like a juvenile probation type thing, hoping I'd violate and send me on up.
But you didn't.
I did not. As soon as I came home, I moved straight to my grandma's house to stay out of town, stay away from everything. I didn't want to be around, so I just locked myself in my grandma's house for a couple months. I didn't know nobody. So I did that.
Good move.
I didn't want to go back. But just like everything else, what's time do?
Yeah.
Make you forget.
Yeah.
So, 8-9 months later, I want to be a big boy. I want to live on my own. So I move in with my brother. Now I got to get a job. Now I got bills to pay. Life's not so easy no more. I'm struggling. I'm making it, but I'm struggling. And here we go again. My buddy's now graduated from marijuana to cocaine.
Ooh, big leagues.
So here we go. My brother lives in this house. Next door neighbor is this girl. And she had this guy coming over to see him all. So I don't know what their relationship was at the beginning. I'm just assuming that they were hanging out. I didn't know if it was drugs or whatever it was. But anyways, he would show up all the time, hang out, and he would leave. But what caught my eye is here you have this Mexican guy on 26s back then. So this is like early 2000s on 26s. That's unheard of. So that's saying drug dealer written all over it. So I already knew what time it was. So my buddies, here we go again, on drugs. Hey, I can't get nothing. It's a drought. I hear them complaining about how they can't find nothing, this and that. And I'm like, well, I think I know somebody.
You're like, this dude that shows up with 26s.
Exactly.
The wheels are turning.
Wheels are turning. So what I do is I hit him up. He's like, yeah. Because you got to remember, when he would come over, we'd make eye contact. Hey, what's up? How you doing? We'd have small talk. I'd have my dirt bike out there. He'd come
he's like,
over.
that's cool.
Yeah. So we would talk. This went on for months, like 6 months or something,
Little trust kind of accrues there.
Well, yeah, we never, nothing off subject, just, regular talk. And I hit him up. I'm like, hey, can we talk? And he's like, oh, yeah. I said, meet me at my house. So I was like, hey, you got something? I know, what? And he's like, yeah, I got you. So I give it to them. They're like, oh my God, this stuff is fire. Like, oh my God.
Zing.
So they want more. So I'm like, okay. And after then I think it was on a Friday night, Saturday night, they want even more. And I'm like, why am I doing this for free? So what I did was I took my paycheck that I made that week. I had $150 left over. I bought an 8-ball. I turned it into 4 grams. So I .8'd it, put a little bit of stuff on it, made it, and then turned right around. It sold that quick. So I bought another 8-ball. By then, after I sold the second one, I had enough money to buy a quarter
now
ounce.
You're looking at that saying, this money grows on the weekend way bigger than that job I'm going to.
Yeah. Because I was only making, I think, $11 an hour at the time.
Oh, God, that's $500 a week, dude.
Yeah, if I was lucky. So the thing is so here I am. Now I got enough to get a quarter, and within weeks, I'm selling ounces. I'm selling quarter keys, and it's just growing so fast. Because like I told you, everything's about timing. It was drought. Nobody had no good product. Here I had better prices than anything. I was paying like $18.5 for a brick back then, which was like unheard of. And then I had it straight off the brick. I had a Mexican plug. I'm talking about get as much as I want. Nobody else can get it.
What would a kilo sell today, roughly?
I don't know. I'm hearing mixed stories. So I'm hearing that actually it's so flooded the prices are cheap. So, but here's the problem is I'm hearing grams around like $75 a gram, 8 balls around 200, or some grams are 100 depending on how good they are. But then a kilo is like, was just as cheap as like 16,000 or something.
Yeah, I was gonna say that sounds cheap. I mean, I'm not like in that business.
But the problem of it is grams and 8 balls were actually more now than they were back then. But I was paying $25,000 to $28,000 for a brick back then, for $50 a gram and $150 for a ball, which now they're $75, $80 for a gram and $200 for a ball, but the kilos are cheaper. So people are actually making some really good money right now from what I understand. But with everything going on.
That means there's a hot consumer market then right now.
Yes. But the thing is, with everything going on at the border, the prices got to be going back up.
Right,
It's got to be a shortage. So it got to the point where I was making really good money at the beginning, 18.5. Okay. So I'm averaging, and just a small time. I mean, the time I was 19 years old, I'm pushing 15 bricks a month.
That's not insignificant.
Well, because you got to remember, some months I couldn't get, he would get a bunch of stuff, but I would only probably get 5. You know what I'm saying? Some months I would get more because whatever reason he had it more, or he was able to get his hands on more. So it made it so easy. And you got to realize when you got a hookup that has unlimited supply and prices are good and the product is fire, like you take over the market.
You have the important things, you have the supply, good crop product, and there's a drought. Like, dude, the demand is there. It's all there. Yeah.
So it grew really fast. So you got to remember, 6 months, I'm starting to push bricks. I'm not saying that anybody can't do it. People can do it all day long because you just need to think. But what made me grow so fast, I didn't want to now. Remember, this just started out doing side money. But like I tell everybody, it's an addiction. First, it's the money. The money is just, you see it coming in and you're just like, it's like,
you don't have a lot of money. When it happens, you're like, this is life-changing. Well, and then other steps.
Well, yeah. So you go through phases just like you go into phases in life. So first, it's the money that grabs you. Then it's just, it's just whatever. Then it's the lifestyle. So it turns into now everybody's calling you. You're getting all the gossip. You're invited to all the parties.
You're important.
You're important.
Oh, that's what you mean by the lifestyle.
The lifestyle. Like yes. So everybody's wanting, hey, what's up? What are you doing? What you got going on? The phone's blowing up. You're important. You're cool. You got to remember, I'm 18 years old, turned 19. I'm probably 19 at this point. And, I'm probably 6-8 months in. I'm starting to push, like a good month is probably like 15 bricks. I'm making average $5,000 off each one of them.
Oh, dude. So you're making, I don't know, $7,000, $8,000, $10,000 in a month.
No.
$5,000 times 5 bricks is 25,000.
No, I'm making, if you do 10, that's 50,000. If I'm pushing some months 15, it's 75. But you got to remember, so I'm breaking most of them down. So I'm getting to the point now I'm hooking up other dealers because my prices are good, my quality's good. Market. So I'm not making a lot of money. People are like, your math doesn't add up. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, listen, guys. So I'd break one down for myself once a month.
Yeah.
So that's grams and all small stuff. And then the other ones.
That's to the retail market, but this other big is wholesale. So you move a fair amount, but you don't have to deal with all these hand-to-hand transactions.
Exactly. So
you're kind of moving up the food chain a little bit, sort of.
And, I wasn't spending much money. I wasn't like spurging it and I get brand new cars, brand new this, brand new that. But don't get me wrong, I was spending money. Strip clubs, doing all the fun stuff, going out, just spending money.
What were you doing with the money? Because that's an annual salary.
Well, I didn't know what to do with it. So people don't understand is when you're growing and you're in it, all your money's out. You really don't have a lot of money in your pocket. So as fast as I get it, I'm wanting to reload because I want to sit on 3 or 4 or 5 bricks because I don't know when I'm going to get them or whatever. I got money owed to me, in front and stuff. I got money.
You're now running a business. These are inventory problems, cash flow problems. This is a business at this point.
I would have, say for instance, you could have $250,000, but you didn't have $250,000 in cash. You had $250,000 in debt. $250,000 in dope.
This guy owes you a little bit. You got some receivables.
So you're spending money. You're going out. You're paying for all your buddies. A lot of stuff like that. You look at it like easy money goes fast. People don't realize how fast easy money is. You look around. You're like, man, I know I made $10,000 this week. Where did it all go? Because you're not earning it. You're not working hard for it. There's no respect for it. It just goes as fast as it comes. And that's the thing about it. And can't really pay attention to exactly, people are like, well, how do you not know? After a while, you quit counting. It's just going.
Once you're beyond the point of paying my bills and needing money and I'm in trouble, when you get beyond that, it's like, I got plenty. Like, I make some, I earn some, I put some back here, I spend it. You're not like tabulating it.
No.
It's just rolling.
Yeah. So at this point, you got to realize I'm starting to have to do something with this money. Now I'm getting cash. It's stacking up. And I told myself I wasn't going to spend no money until I got $250,000 in cash saved up. And I wasn't going to really do anything. So now once I got $250,000 cash saved up, I'm sitting there twiddling my thumbs going, well, I can't just, what am I going to do with all this cash? Like I have to do something with it. And at this same point is when I ran into an issue. So something big happened in Florida close to me about a whole family. It was a Mexican family. They got executed. Husband, wife, and 2 kids on side of I-95 or Turnpike, I think it was. And made the news. Feds got involved. It was really big. It was over I think he's still, they said like 60 or 80 keys from the cartel.
Did that make you think, like, you're a kid starting to move real weight and that happens down the street? Was there any point where you're like, uh-oh, that's this business?
No, because I wasn't going to do what he did. The news said it right off the rip. Like, this is, the guy stole something, and I already knew the consequences. So, because I'd probably done the same thing. I mean, I'm not saying I would, but think about it. I don't know until you're put in that situation. Say you built this whole thing, and you pay somebody to move all your weight. It's all your money, your life savings, and everything. And 60 bricks, you're talking $1 million of your money. You know what I'm saying? So, and then all of a sudden, somebody just takes it and runs off with it. And now you have nothing. You got this whole empire, you built it and everything else, and you got bills and stuff. So I don't know how you would think over $1 million.
Interesting point.
People do it for less.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
So at this point, I didn't realize how big I got. I didn't plan to get this big. I didn't want to get that big. It just happened. It just kept going, like I told you. The first needle in the arm was the money. Okay. Second one is the lifestyle. And you don't realize the thrill of the lifestyle. So you got the money. Now you're getting attention. You're getting everything you want. You got your pockets are full. You're able to do what you want. You're just going with the flow. You're not realizing you're so caught up in the game. And people don't understand. It's just like anything. You hear it in business world all the time. They think they can run every aspect of their business, and they're actually handicapping their business from growing because they think they got to have their hands in everything and control the business. You got to let the business do itself. You got to put people in play and do what they do. Well, I'm so hooked into the game. Now it's got me. So when that happened, all of a sudden, my guy disappears.
Oh, your source.
My source disappears.
Oh, that's a problem.
So I had heard that he had nothing to do with it, but he was connected to the people. When the feds come in, they want to grab everybody. So everybody disappeared that had something to do with, was involved with those people. So here I am now pushing all this weight, had the best plug, anything I want, how I wanted it, great prices, It's dry. Boom, pulls from up under me. Now I got to see what it was really like to be a real drug dealer. Because a lot of people don't understand is anybody can do it. Anybody can do it. It's easy. You just got to get on if you want to advertise and you want to put your name out there and you got a good product, you can get to the top. But here's the problem. Can you get the product?
Running the business.
Amount? Well, not really running part. Too many people get on the product. See, I didn't do drugs.
But that's part of the business. Like, I'm saying, are you really going to do it? Can you do this? Like, now you're running a business. You have a problem. I have a supplier problem. I got to solve that problem. Yeah. Like, it's a real thing.
It is. And so here's my issue is I can find product, but I can't. Everybody is a yeah man. I call it the yeah man. Yeah. I can do that. And you probably hear it all the time. Yeah, I got it. And it's like, okay, well, here's the money for 5 bricks. Oh, well, I got to make some phone calls. So this was my issue. And it goes back to like the weed thing. So I would get hooked up with somebody. Now I'm going to Miami because, here in Miami. So everything leads back to Miami. Some of the people I was dealing with that I was hooking keys up were like, hey, I got a dude to Miami. I got this person here. We can hit them up and see what they're doing. So I'm like, okay, set it up. Let's go talk. And they're like, yeah, I got you. So I'm like, well, give me 1 brick. They're like, I can get you 1 right now. I'm like, okay, get it. So I get it. And I'm like, man, this is funny. Like the stamp is not the same. It looks like it's repacked. And my guy would take some off the top and he's like, it's good. And then we break it down and they would like just put enough just on the top and then the rest of it's garbage would cut.
Oh, man.
So I'm running into issues. And then it's like, yeah, I can get 5. So then this guy is running around trying to get 5. Very rarely you can get 3. And they're getting 1 from over here, 1 over here. So it's like 3 different types, not consistent. It's like this one's good. Nobody wants the other. It's just...
Can't run a business like that.
I can't. I couldn't run a business. And you got to remember, here I am already addicted to the business. I'm addicted to it. The phone quits ringing. I'm losing customers. I can't keep people around. So now the 3rd needle comes in. It started getting addicted to finding the plugs, actually to pull it off. You know what I'm saying? To fix the corrections, work my way up. So this is where I come in. I'm like, well, let's go to Bahamas.
Oh, you're talking climb your way up the ladder.
Yes. Because you got to remember, now I'm meeting these people. Here's a guy with no tattoos. I'm not a part of a gang. I don't do drugs. I'm working my way into all these guys, all these people. I'm actually pulling
They probably like you because you don't look like the people, right?
They don't.
They dislike you or they like you?
They didn't because you
look too different?
Yeah, they were like, are you a cop? They all wanted to call me a cop because I didn't do it. You know, all these things. But luckily I had certain people vouching for me is the only reason why. But I got it so much and people just didn't. I didn't fit it. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't tatted up. I didn't do the, product. So my family has a house in Bahamas. So I was like, you know what? I've been over there, sometimes when I was younger and everything else. I'm like, let's go for it. So we actually take a day cruise over there. And I thought it would be easy, but here we go again. I went straight to Freeport, Bahamas to La Calle. And there's people, because as a kid, I remember they were always everywhere, selling to the tourists.
Yeah, they do that at all the tourist destinations.
Yeah, all of them. So I'm
like whistling and stuff.
Yeah. What you want?
So you went and found those guys?
I went and found them guys.
And went right up the ladder.
No, that was the problem. Here we go again. Same problem as the United States.
Oh.
So, they're, man. Yeah. So, okay, give me an 8-ball. Give me a quarter. Give me this. Give me that. Give me an ounce. Can you get it? Yeah. Okay, give me an ounce. You get it. The product's usually pretty good. But you're paying American prices. And I'm like, what in the world? Because, it's a tourist spot. They know prices. What it is. So I'm like, whatever, I don't care. I'm just doing it because I'm trying to work my way up. These guys couldn't get more than an ounce.
It's not going to get you anywhere.
I hit every roadblock, dead end it was, but this is where my addiction kept kicking in. I'm not giving up. I had plenty of money put away, and I'm like, let's just keep grinding. And it wasn't me that found the hookup. It was actually one of my buddies that was going over there with me. There was this one cat that would ride up and down La Calle, the block, all the time circling. And he drove like this Buick on like 20s back then. He thought he was some shit.
Yeah.
His car was hideous. But anyways, make a long story short, my buddy just finally was like, hey, yo, man, what's up? And he like stopped me. He's like hops in his car and was like, all right. And the dude's like, what's going on? So we just hop in and we're like, oh, you're driving us around. Since you want to stroll around, now you're our tour guide or something like that. And he's like, y'all better get the hell up out of my car. And we're like, nah, man, you driving us around. He goes, okay, well, you're going to my restaurant then. You're going to buy some food at my restaurant. So we went, we hung out with him, we started kicking it. And we started telling him what we were up to. And he's like, oh, man, yeah, I got some people. So come to find out, the Bahamians can't gamble. Okay, so he ran all the underground casinos. So he had all these like hidden rooms, like these little false doors, and then go in and have like slot machines and tables and stuff for the locals to gamble and do what they needed to do. So he was well connected on the island.
You got somebody who's in the underworld, in the biz,
but not in the drug game. But he
probably knows the people. Yeah.
Got pool. He's in the underground. So what do you think all the dope boys are doing? Probably going to gamble in this place.
There you go.
Hanging out in there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, what's every drug movie you ever watch? They all want to go. They all show up there to gamble and stuff like that.
They say birds of a feather flock together.
Yeah.
There you go.
So he's like, I know some people. So he hooks us right up and gets us a brick right off the rip. A good one too. 13.5. And I was like, oh, great price or anything else. Now they're going for 28 over there. So I went home and grinded it down, all small stuff. Started building it back up again. And I'm like, man, I finally got it. So we found a way to communicate. And he like, come on over. Here we go again. Same thing. Just could not get a steady connect. Couldn't run it. We're running into the same problems. Everybody says they can get it. So the island only gets like 300 or 400 bricks at a time. And people are like, whoa, that's a lot of bricks.
Is it coming up from South or Central America?
Yeah, it's coming up through like Puerto Rico, Dominica, coming up through all the islands.
Like one or two connects. It's pretty much supplying everybody there.
I'm assuming. I just know that these guys, that island would get like 300 or 400 keys. But this is what I noticed. Every time I go over there, it's the same faces I'm seeing over there too. Like they're waiting too. And it's majority white boys that work on like sport fishing boats and stuff. So they're like deckhands or, whatever. And they're there to pick up too. So they're like buying a couple, putting on their boats, 5 or 10 at a time too, and hiding them on the boats. Nobody else knows. And it's just same faces all the time. I'm like, dude, this is scary. Like, I don't want to be hanging out here if this is what's going on. So I started hiding out somewhere else. And so that was the problem. So they would say, okay, come on, it's going to be here, or whatever. So you get there, and then Coast Guard is patrolling. So they're like, hey, the boat's hit as, had to hide out on this island because Coast Guard's patrolling, or the weather's bad. After 3-4 days, you're like, man, I can't keep waiting. I can't stay away this long.
They're not doing like random stops, or it's just more patrol kind of?
I don't know. So my Coast Guard connects, I had somebody on payroll, and Coast Guard would always tell me like, hey, Jason, we're patrolling on the backside of islands. It's hot. We're looking, activity's hot over there. Very rarely they would be patrolling between Florida and the Bahamas. Very rarely. They were always trying to catch the big boats, the boats coming in with all the product on the backside.
So y'all were safer kind of in your part of the route.
I only got 2 phone calls to not go for the next couple weeks. I've only got 2 of them that they were patrolling in that area. So apparently knew something was going on. That they were actually looking, like that's what they were there for. So that became an issue between weather and Coast Guard. We go over there and wait 3, 4, 5 days, and we wouldn't get no product, and I have to come home empty-handed. And then he'd hit me up like, "Oh man, it came in 2 days after you left," and da da da. Or we'd show up and it's already sold, or we get there but we can only get 3. So at first, what we started doing, because I was only bringing small amounts back,
a problem now.
It stays a problem. It became an issue, but it was still the whole thing of like the excitement of pulling it off, going over there, scoring and stuff, bringing it back on the boats.
That's the part you were then hooked on, the last.
Yeah, so the last one was that, because you got to remember the money wasn't exciting. When you're counting all that money, you just don't, it's not exciting no more. It wears off. And then being the important person, getting all the phone calls, after 6 months, a year, guess what? That wears off too. It's like you talk about your business, how it makes you happy. What would you do if you didn't have this? Are you pulling this off, doing all these things? Because when you get a challenge,
the thrill of chase,
So you talk about your real estate stuff, talking about, I find this property, man, and I got to make everybody happy and everybody take this deal and get everybody on board, and you want to seal it right then and there. You're like, you cannot wait 5 minutes. You want to be like, check, 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 check. Here's the cash, get out. Like sign that piece of paper now. So that was like my high was, can I find it? Can I pull it off? So then here we go back to my old drug smuggling dad's buddies. So I approached one, was like, hey, like, how would you advise me of like bringing it back? Would you hide it on the boat? Would you do this, do that? He told me in small amounts, do not put it on, hide it, because what they're going to do is they're never going to pull you over out in the ocean, like far out. They're always going to wait sure you're back in United States territory. So international waters is like 7 or 8 miles off the coast. So they're going to make sure they get you outside the international waters back in our territory, because it makes it easier. Jurisdiction, to prosecute you and everything else is so much easier. It's different laws, I think, out there and everything else. So they want to catch you. So the water is going to be anywhere between 120 to 90 foot or 60 foot, so it's not really deep. And it's deep, but it's not deep. And he's like, you see the drug boats all the time where they're throwing the bells out and they're just floating. It's like, why even throw them out if they're floating? You guys just keep them in the boats. Like you're throwing them out, you want them to sink. You're trying to get rid of them, not just sinking. Float. Like, so it makes no sense to me. So he's like, listen, you want to get a net bag and put your dope in it. And he says, you want to put enough weight in there to where you don't want to have no weight in there and it just floats, because then they're just going to grab it. He said, you don't want to put too much weight where it goes straight to the bottom, they dive down and get it. He said, you want to put just enough weight in there to where it sinks, but the current just keeps pulling it. And you don't know where it's going to hit the bottom, or if it doesn't even hit the bottom. So they never find it. So if they get close to you, just throw it over and it just goes along with the currents.
Okay. He's
like, until you get a large amount, don't do that.
Dude, that's some experience right there.
Yeah. So now that we're pulling off and, I'm getting, 10, 15 at a time, 20 or whatever, I take dive tanks. And I had, at the bottom, you have a plastic sleeve that goes over the bottom so they don't scuff up. And they have, looks like a wrench, like almost like a bolt pattern on them. Like you can put a wrench on them and they go into a box and lock in so they don't spin, they don't twirl, nothing like that. So you pop them off, and I had a machine cut them, laser cut. So it was precise. And they drill these holes with these pins. And then I had these things, I had a sleeve put in and welded. And then the sleeve came out further and it had 2 rings where we put rubber gasket seals. So now this canister only went so far up in there to where you have about this much left to where you can still put air in the tank, and it showed on the gauge. You can pop it. It's at a hidden bladder.
It's a false bottom.
Yeah.
And it's still functional.
Yeah. So when you put it in, you had 3 Allen keys. So you would tighten Allen keys up to hold the 2 rubber seals so it would seal up tight. And then I would take the automotive Bondo and fill the little cracks and stuff, and then put a little spray paint on them, on all of them, and put the cap back on. So you couldn't tell. All the tanks had air on them, everything. So that's how I was doing it towards then. And once I got tired of doing that, somebody approached me and let me know that somebody we went to school with was tied to the Cali cartel. And so in the 80s, when all the cartels were feuding and Pablo Escobar was going at it, they were trying to kidnap each other's kids and family members. That's the prize win, is to get their family members. So a lot of them were bringing their kids over here to go to school, bringing them to America to hide them. And so I kind of went to school with somebody who was related to the Cali cartel, to the actual family. And we got set up with the cousin, and we went to Cali, Colombia. And actually, the kids I went to school with, their dad is the head of the cartel. So the cousin runs.
You're dealing with a son.
Yeah. So I didn't really deal when I went to school. I knew who he was, but nobody knew that he was part of that. And I only went to school because you got to remember I went to juvenile. But I think he was only in town that people really know about 4 or 5 years. But the one boy ended up hanging out because they moved to Miami and continued to be friends with him. He's like, I want to introduce you to somebody.
Okay.
So they introduced me to him, and they're like, hey, we don't do nothing, but we'll hook you up with our cousin. So we fly to Cali, Colombia. And just to remind you, he just got back in the country the same day that we got there from being kidnapped from Ecuador from another cartel or something for like $6 million ransom or something and all the drugs. So he's already back to, got to get business running again.
Dude, this is already getting deep. Like, at this point, what's your age?
Young 20s.
Dang. Yeah, this is not many years in, but like,
20.
You're headed to the top of the food chain there.
You got to remember, I'm probably 20. No, I'm about mid 20s. I'm probably around 24 years old at this time. 23, 24. About 24. Because you got to remember, I did really good up to like 20, 21. And then I struggled for a while in between. And then I'm still building up. So I went to about 2-3 years of struggling. Not at the top like I was at the very beginning. At the very beginning, I was just balling out of control. I ran into it.
You didn't know how good you had it at the moment.
I didn't know. No, I didn't. I'd never been in it. It just happened.
Yeah.
The Bahamas one wasn't as bad as I'm making it out to be because there was times you would get 10, 15 bricks, and other stuff. And you just had to make a lot of trips. I'm hiding. I got a boat hidden that I would take off. So here I got friends and everybody else wanting to know, like, where's Jason at? Well, he's been gone for 2 days, blah, blah, blah. And I'm turning my phone off. Nobody knows I'm gone. I don't tell nobody. I just leave.
Sounds like the first connect was like consistent, pretty good, all that. And then it goes from just a mess for a while.
Yeah, goes to a mess. And then now it goes to everybody's asking where Jason's at. Why does he disappear all the time? So people are trying to put a puzzle together, like, where am I disappearing to?
And the next thing you're talking to the Cali cartel.
Yeah. So they pretty much told me was that
you had to go down there to meet them?
Yeah, I went to Colombia. So I went to Colombia, met with them. And he was pretty much like, listen, for X amount of dollars, around $3,000 or $4,000 a brick, I can get it on any boat, get it on a ship out of here. It's up to you to get it off. So I was like, okay. I was like, I got that thing. So I went back to Bahamas, set it all up. And I worked out a deal where they got quarter of the shipment for it coming in.
Oh, that's what you paid the transport, the boat or the whatever.
No. I paid the Bahamians to get it off the boat and get it to my hands. So they wanted a quarter of the shipment for the drugs to come in their port, for them to offload it, clear customs, and get in my possession.
Okay, got it.
So I had to pay them a quarter of the shipment.
So you're paying $3,000 or $4,000 a pop, and then what's a quarter of?
So say I got 100 bricks, they get 25 bricks.
Wow, sounds like
25
a lot, but
times 4 is another 100,000. So you got to think it's really not. I got what, 7,000-8,000 maybe at the most tied up in the bricks. Time I pay everybody and get everything done, I probably got $8,000 per one, and they're selling here all day long for the 28.
So you're running at slightly less than a 50% margin to pay people along the way to get it to American soil. That's a big markup. A 50% margin is a 100% markup.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm definitely doing that. But you got to remember, now I'm making 4 times almost.
Because the volume.
Yeah. Well, I'm selling for 28,000. So I got 8. So I'm profiting 20.
The quality, it's straight from the best source you're going to get.
Just like the Mexican, same quality.
So you went to highest quality, highest consistency with product, dude. You're in like the big leagues at this point.
So, but here's the problem is, so you got to remember, he gets all his gambling machines in from Canada. So he has the port on lock. So, I already knew that. So I went there, worked a deal, got it out. So we did small shipment first. So we just run like 20, 25 or something like that. I can't remember. It was 15 or 25. I think it was 25 the first time, just to see how it works, to get them through. Works good. I do another one. Works good. I'm trying to build the trust of these people because they're not very trustworthy over there. Like, they're pretty wild.
I believe that.
So they starts working, and then I pull off a big one, 100 key. And then I went over there one time to work out a deal to pick up some stuff, and they tried to kidnap me. And then the next time, so when I would go over there, I would bring they would want like, wings, Budweiser in a bottle, Bud Light in a bottle, because they can't, because the tariffs are so expensive to bring imports over there. This stuff's really expensive.
They want Budweiser and KFC?
Yeah, they want weird stuff. So they want they sometimes bring bicycles, TVs and stuff because it costs so expensive. So I would get
Who
the
would have
stuff.
thought?
Well, these are just so I would trade this out not for the drug dealers. This is to trade out for fish. So I would literally just go there and pick my stuff up and come back. So I want to look like I was on a fishing trip. Oh. So the locals that I would get all the fish from, they give me a list of stuff they want. So I would go get it for them and trade it for fish, conch, lobster, all kinds of stuff to make it look like that I've been over there and just went on the baddest fish trip. Because, we'd stage it. We'd be dressed to the part, have all the gear, dive, we'd have everything on the boat. So it looked like we went on a long fish. Yeah, you have to. Or not, they're going to get you. So I would trade out, and I had this cooler where they thought it was the drugs in there because the boys before us had a custom cooler guy over there, and they were building the coolers out of Coke inside. The whole liner where the foam was going was all Coke.
Oh, instead of the insulation.
Yes. So I'm assuming that's what it was, and the dude, and it was so funny because now I'm on alert because they tried to kidnap me the time before. This time we're coming across the parking lot.
Dude, is there any point, I've asked you this several times today, is there any point where you're like, oh shit, I'm in the wrong business. The stakes are higher because you had the guys who got burned for the theft.
But I've been living it so long. No.
So you're starting to get acclimated to this is how it is.
Yeah, but it's kind of exciting in a way though too. So it just goes back to the whole. You got to remember, I grew up listening to the stories of them burning planes and stuff with people alive. So you got to remember, I'm thinking like, wow, this is exactly what my dad's buddies were talking about. That I was so thrilled, and they were all like ooh and ah about and stuff.
Doesn't seem as bad.
Nah. I was coached as a young age. This is what comes with the lifestyle in a way.
Oh man, I'm just putting myself. I graduated college late. My 25 years old when I graduated. You're like right around that age. Mm-hmm. You're even 100 keys, almost getting kidnapped, dealing with cartel top brass, and I'm over here like trying to get out of my senior year class to go get a job in some bullshit corporate America job. Like our lives couldn't have been more different.
Well, you got to remember at this time, I'm running 2 businesses too, and I'm washing money, laundering money, because got to remember I've been doing all this stuff, so I have all this cash. I'm trying to.
Oh, I forgot. Where's this cash going?
Yeah,
like
so
under the bed. What are you doing?
The thing
with
is,
it
so
all?
the dude go back to. I'm carrying the cooler across the parking lot. It seems like I feel like he thought the drugs were in there, so he runs up. I see him coming. You got to remember, I just almost got kidnapped where they drugged me in the car weeks prior. So I'm looking over. I'm looking, and I see this guy coming. He's got this look or whatever, and I see him pull out a gun. So we take off running, leave the cooler. We chase him around the vehicle, unloading the clip on me. And so we get up out of there. They take the cooler. We go off the coast. We sleep on shifts on the boat. And we get the dope. We get the hell up out of there. And so at this time, you got to remember, I got all this cash. I'm trying to do stuff. I started this company, and I had bought this pressure washing rig because I was pressure washing heavy equipment on weekends, just de-dusting and like cleaning out the radiators, open cabs because, Florida is real dry and dusty and stuff like that during the summer months. So one of my buddies was like, man, I need somebody, whatever. So I bought this. One of the guys was hurting on money. So I got this like big tank with a trailer and I put a pressure washer on it. And I would send a guy, and I would do it, and I would send a guy out there to pressure wash, and I would get like $300-$400 per equipment.
So it's pretty you're continuing the entrepreneurial spirit. You're just kind of spreading it out.
Well, I'm trying to launder money through the businesses. So I'm starting to push money into it. So like I tell people all the time, you got to start companies. So I'm starting this business. What ended up going into tack and asphalt removal. I started something new that nobody else was doing. So
you do a lot of work, $400 at a time laundering money, but you start going up in the price point, so it's easier.
Well, yeah. I mean, you got to think you're paying for now all your equipment, your vehicle, everything. Insurance, cell phone. Now I'm able to take money, drug money, and put it in. I'm doing it on a small level. So the other way I started doing it, so everybody kept telling me about getting into real estate. So
this is where your path crossed with real estate.
Yeah. So I was like, well, I have too much cash to get in there. So I started buying like boats, cars, everything real cheap, under $10,000. I didn't care about losing money on it. I would try to find good deals, and I would buy it in cash. I would find people to buy things in cash. So I'd give them cash, and I'd turn around and put it right back up for sale because I want a check. So
you can deposit that, and if you file tax or whatever, you can prove where it came from.
Yeah.
But I guess there's no place to prove how you paid. That's
No.
not really proved up. It's where did it come from?
Yeah, nobody does. Nobody cares because this is not a business. All I'm doing is buying, selling a couple cars here and there, a boat. So I don't put the title in my name. So I leave it. So I buy a vehicle from you. You sign the title. I leave it open. So now I put it up for sale, and then all I do is just sell it, and then he puts
the title over to
registers.
him.
Yeah, I don't even sign it. I just give the title to him because you know what I'm saying. You signed it. I left the title open.
So now you're trafficking. Also, I guess that would be considered laundering. Yeah. So now you're trafficking and you're laundering.
Well, you have to. So it always goes in hand. So if you're in the drug business, you're laundering money. So a lot of people understand money laundering, they think is washing money. Okay. So I had to learn the hard way during trial. If you buy a 5-cent piece of gum, you realize money laundering is just spending money, ill-gotten gains, because now you own a product. So if I go buy a 5-cent piece of bubble gum, right? That bubble gum now is laundered money because I just took dirty money, bought something of asset that is clean that I can sell to somebody for 5 cents now and get clean money back.
So the transaction of you spending that dirty
Ill-gotten
money,
gains is money laundering. That's it.
so the moment you spend ill-gotten gains, that's considered laundering.
One of my all my money laundering charges was paying mortgage payment, car payment is money laundering. So paying my payroll in one of my businesses was money laundering because you're washing money. Now you're taking dirty money and paying people to it. All it is spending money. That's it. Just spending it. They don't care how you spend it. It's spending it.
Do they? How well do they have to prove the source of it? Do they have to track the dollars? But money's fungible, so if you bring in 10 grand here and it spends different ways, or do they just find the source?
It's all conspiracy.
Generally?
It's conspiracy to money launder. So they don't have to prove every penny. They don't have to prove none of it. All they have to do is say, look, his books don't add up to what he's bringing in and what he's spending.
Got it. Large influx of cash. We know this pressure washing business doesn't do that. Where else did it come from? We caught him with so-and-so. It's laundering.
So one of my key things that I tell people all the time, like how I would do it. So say, for instance, pool companies are really good to do. Buying pool cleaning companies and lawn businesses. Because say you get a pool cleaning business, right? I can go buy the trailer because it's under $10,000 cash, okay?
Why do you want to be under 10 grand?
Because anything over $10,000, a lot of places they won't accept it because they have to fill out that form at the bank.
Oh, reporting. Oh, federal reporting.
Yes, yep. So nobody really wants to, and it raises red flags and everything else. So I try to keep it under 10,000. So you can go buy a trailer, then you can buy the pool cleaning stuff all individually and pay cash for it. So now you got a whole rig that values over $10,000 for cash. Now you have, and so then I go get an LLC and do what I need to do, right? So then I can go buy all the cleaning chemicals, everything cash. They don't have to know. I don't have to claim it on the thing. I just throw the receipt away. I'm not trying to get a tax write-off on it. I'm just getting it to get going. So now I don't have no accounts, okay? So I can go down to the local place and advertise in a newspaper or something. Guess what I give them? Cash. I don't keep a receipt so they know what I'm doing.
Everything.
Paying cash for everything. And I don't put that on my taxes because I don't want them to ever go back and say, how did he pay for this? Oh, cash. So I don't want to write it off. I just want to get the business going. So
you don't care if you're even losing a couple bucks because you're going to have to pay someone to money launder it. Yeah. Even if you lose a little, it's a proof of where the money came from. That makes it clean.
Well, the whole thing of paying somebody to money launder is actually a myth because, that's what you see in the movies. Like I gave someone $110,000, they gave me a $100,000 check. Most people don't want nothing to do. Don't get me wrong. It does happen, but you're talking about nobody wants to get involved in that. That was probably something back in the 80s or something, but you can't buy nothing with cash hardly anymore. You know what I'm saying? People don't want cash. People don't want it. They're scared to death of it. So the point of large amounts, small amounts they'll take. But the thing is, so you get this pool company or lawn business, same thing lawn business. You go buy a trailer. You can buy all the equipment, okay? So you can buy all the equipment cash, all the lawnmowers, weed eaters, everything else cash, okay? So then you turn right around and...
But you got a bank account for the revenue deposit.
That's it. You only got the bank account for the revenue deposits. You don't write off none of that stuff because all you're trying to do is buy the equipment to get a business going and make money. So people are like, oh, he's able to afford this new truck and that boat because he owns his lawn business doing really good. Which they don't understand is you're doing it almost for free. So you're not trying to make a profit. I mean, you are, but you're not. So like whenever you get the equipment on the pool or lawn business, now you can go around and buy people's shit accounts. So pool people are always selling off their bad accounts, always selling them off. So if you go to a big pool company, they're like, hey, I got 20 accounts. I want 3 months of what they bring in for each one of them. And I got 30 of them that I don't want. And it's usually 30 that they don't make very good money because they're weeding out the bad ones for the good ones.
You're still thinking like a business person.
Yeah. So you go and buy those and you build your company up by buying these accounts. You pay him cash because he's not going to do nothing. You don't want a receipt. You're not trying to do a tax write-off. All you're doing is buying it. Now your business is working. It's bringing in money. The money's going to the thing. And then I tell people what I do is say it costs me $100 a day to operate. I spend $50 in cash and the other $50 I put it on the card. So it looks like I'm spending somewhat to keep the business. So it's not where I'm just putting all cash in and then my bank account just keeps going up. It's not showing an operation thing. So you have to spend some of it. But it's an easy way to launder money on a small scale. When I was buying and selling like the cars and boats, okay, I'm buying a car. I put it back up for sale and I tell them I don't want cash. I have to have a check, only checks. So when I get the check, I put it in the bank. I go and buy another car or boat, something that's a hot item that people want. I got a decent deal on, so I'm not losing money. I like to make money, but I don't care about making money. I just want the check. Once I got $40,000, $50,000 saved up, this is where it comes in real estate. Because everybody's always talking about real estate this, flipping houses, doing this, doing that.
So your first foray into real estate came from the illegal drug business.
Yes. Because all I ever heard about, it's the best way to launder money. You can do it on a large scale, fast.
It's because the real estate is a lot of dollars per unit, basically.
So what it is so what I targeted was rundown properties that needed a lot of money where somebody just neglected it.
Now you're speaking my language. All right.
So what I did was I went and I never did this in my hometown because I didn't want people in my hometown to see where's Jason? The contractors in town, he paid me cash, and this and that, start gossiping.
Build a rep.
And then they're like, he bought this place and he probably put $100,000 in it. Where'd he get that $100,000 from? So I didn't want that.
He put more than this house is worth.
Yeah.
Damn, you're thinking on so many different levels because it's not like I go to my office today and I work with these people and I pay these people and I buy this and it's in the public records. It's all out there. You're having to hide all these different pieces from different people. Dude, there's a lot going on right now.
Yes. So what I did was I would get out of town and I had got a couple of the realtor girls. So I'd always find younger girls because you can manipulate them easier and they're not very bright on understanding the game. I'm not saying they're not smart, but I'm saying they're not hip to the streets and how things work. Okay?
Got it.
So I would find young girls that are just pretty and just, like that and be like, listen, any rough real estate that's not doing good, is horrible, nobody wants to touch, is so ugly and out, needs a lot of money, I want them and I'll pay you $500 on top of everything for just finding the leads for me. So I would pay them to find these leads. So what I did was I do an interest-only loan. I'd put enough money down.
Who would that kind of loan come from back in that day? Okay.
Let's go to bank.
You get an interest-only bank loan.
Just go to interest-only bank. I got a business, I got tax returns, I got some money, my business make money, I built a little bit of credit. So I'm able to go to the bank and I do an interest-only loan. So I purchased a property for, really cheap. I put the money down. They were like, hey, I want 20%. Okay, here you go. I got 20% because, the house is probably only $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 because it's so run down. And what I do is I go in there and I find contractors to come in and work for cash. At least I'm going to pay in cash. And, a lot of contractors are like, okay, I'm on.
Sure.
I'm in. So I'm like, okay, so here's the deal. So I pay him cash. Boom, 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 boom. I get the house looking good and get it totally remodeled. Even sometimes I put a little extra money in than what I should and I lose. I don't care because I look at it like I'm paying taxes on that, the illegal money. You know what I'm saying? Paying my taxes on it. But the goal was always to make money. At first, flipping houses, fixing them, flipping them, I was actually making a profit. This is back before.
So you're washing money, you're making a profit, and you're adding another business line, basically.
Yes. So what I did was I fixed them up. I put it back on the market. So now when it sells, I pay the bank. Now that I got the rest of the money is what? It's legit. It's like collecting the check.
Oh, so, you get a 1099 from the title company. It goes in your tax return.
Yeah. Goes on tax returns. So what I did instead of putting in, paying taxes on it, I reinvest it right back into some more properties. So now instead of buying a $60,000 thing, now I can buy a house for $100 that's run down, that's worth $150 run down. So now I take it. Now I can put $100,000 into that house because now it's worth more to where I can, and now I sell it for $400,000.
You're rolling your way upwards.
I'm rolling my way up. So every time I did it, I would try to get a bigger project that needed more money put in it so I can launder the money faster. And then it started getting to the point where, everybody talks about, flipping houses, this and that. It started getting to the point where I was actually losing money because everybody was in it. You couldn't get the places cheap enough. Too many people. I don't care what anybody says, flipping houses, I don't know where you might say different to me. I don't know how you really get rich off of flipping houses unless you really beat somebody, find a lot of good deals, and you're not finding those deals to flip them houses. Because the ones that you do get a lot of good deals on, there's so many people bidding on it, it just brings the market up, and it's less money to put in it. And you put the money in it, and it's still...
It's very hard these days. But back then, it sounds like you were just getting to that era of competition after the mortgage crisis. Stuff was starting to happen.
No, this is before the mortgage crisis.
Oh, so this is all on the way up.
I got stuck with some houses because literally I could buy the house, any house, okay? And just time I would close on and go all the stuff is already worth $30,000, $40,000 more.
This is a good time to be in this business.
Oh, it was killing it.
But so you're still running like pretty consistent drug operations.
I'm running my business. I'm doing the tack and asphalt removal thing for asphalt companies because when I was doing the pressure washing, they had a problem. So when they asphalt roads, you ever notice when they finish asphalt and the tack on you see tire marks go forever? Like they pull in driveways and it leaves that tack, that oil. So they're like, we could never been able to figure. He's like, if somebody could figure out how to get this stuff out, they make a killing. And I'm like, really? He's like, you can practice on a job. So I go out there and put every kind of chemical, everything on it, heat, scrapers, chemicals, everything you can think about how to get this stuff off. Came up with a wet sandblasting system. So it was with water and sand. They had this feeding thing that it was just getting tested, and I used it, and it worked. It was absolutely, but there were steps to get to it. So I owned the market. So meanwhile, I'm running drugs. I'm doing this. I'm killing it.
You're busy.
I'm really busy. And then I'm flipping houses. I'm not doing a lot of houses. You got to remember, I'm just, only one at a time. Boom, boom, boom. But I'm making really good money. I'm laundering the money fast, washing it fast at my lifestyle. So everything's going good until that last shipment where the dude tried to kill me. I just had my daughter.
Everything's going good until the dude tried to kill me.
Well, the thing is you got to remember, I just had my daughter, okay? So she's like 6 months old. I come home after I got kidnapped the time before. This time I'm getting shot at. You know what I'm saying?
I
come home. I got businesses going on. I got other stuff going on. So I'm laying on the couch. And
is your lifestyle day to day, like you're going out and working 8 to 5 or 8 to 8, and you're coming home to the same bed, wife, kiddo? Like, is that very consistent scheduling?
No, I'm working my job during the day, overseeing it, come home, shower, go run drugs to like 11, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, get up at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, doing it all over again. Friday, Saturday night, I'm running till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, taking care of everything, make sure things are done.
But you're still coming home to like mama and kid, and like that part of your life's consistent. It's just a lot of work hours.
Yeah, I'm not spending much time with them. I just had my daughter. So, first 3 months of a kid, you're not doing anything. They're sleeping, peeing, pooping, changing diapers, and crying. That's it. There's no time for dad. It seems like you don't even exist. So the first 3, 4 months, I was just like, man, this is overrated. Like, who wants kids?
Yeah.
So it was about 6 months whenever, they tried to shoot me or kill me. And my daughter was sleeping on my chest, and I was just sitting there like, I can't do this no more. I'm done. I'm done. You got to remember, I'm flipping houses. I got stuff going on.
It's finally adding up because I've asked you several times, is this enough yet? And you're like, no. Is this enough? This might be enough at this point.
Well, it really wasn't enough. It was just the fact that when you have a kid, it changes your life. Like just looking at her when she's sitting there just, sleeping on you, and you're looking at her and she's looking up at you, and, you start thinking differently. It's not that it was enough. You start thinking differently. And you got to remember, this is right when the real estate crisis started to hit. Haven't even fully felt it yet. Nobody's really fully felt it, know what it's doing. I'm living in one of the houses that I at this point, this is the house that I'm going to be living in because I get stuck with it because of the real estate falls out. Everything happens at once. I quit that trade. Things are going bad. Everything's going out. So I start loan sharking. You got to remember, I got a bunch of money put away. So I start loan sharking. I got other stuff going on. My asphalt company thing. All the biggest asphalt companies were running 5, 6 asphalt crews. So I had more work than I know what to do with. They went from 5 or 6 asphalt crews to 1 asphalt crew. Because you got to remember, all the developments, everything came to a halt. Everything came to a halt back then. So, and then that's when like the We Buy Gold thing started coming out. So I'm trying to do the We Buy, so I'm buying gold thing, trading it in. You got to remember, so at the beginning of it, the foreclosures didn't start yet. Because you remember, they were allowing people to stay. So many houses, they were just allowing people to stay in their houses.
Oh, in Florida was a really big problem
It was
there.
huge. It was so bad. It was that in Vegas.
Yeah.
So the real estate crashed so bad that they weren't even evicting people because, when you evict them, there was no buyers.
All that, yeah.
Well, no, they couldn't get no buyers. So the house would deteriorate. It was actually a house that would deteriorate less with somebody in it than without the AC running.
This is a bad place for all these things in operation now.
Dude, there's people that live rent-free in their house for 2 years before they even got evicted. 2+ years rent-free. All they had to do was just pay for power and cable.
So were you thinking, I decided to stop the drug stuff, but now my other businesses aren't going to be great. What do I do?
No, they crashed. I was just sitting out.
So you got some reserves, but the businesses are in a mess. What do you do?
Well, I was loan sharking. A lot of the contractors
Some
and people in
gold,
town.
some loan shark.
Yeah, because you got to remember, there's still people in town that they were hit financially, still had work, but they didn't have no liquid. Banks wouldn't give them money, nothing like that. So I would come in and do that. So I'm making. You got to remember, I had money put away, plenty of money. So it's not like I was hurting. I wasn't spending a lot of money. I wasn't, doing crazy stuff. So I'm making it, and my goal was to start trying to figure out the real estate game again. But there was just nothing to do in it. I got stuck with the house that I'm in. I can't get rid of it. I had like probably $250,000 tied up in it, and it valued at $80,000 a couple years later. It appraised at $80,000.
Oh, painful.
So I'm like, what are we gonna do here? Well, meanwhile, my daughter one day is probably, I don't know, 6, 8 months old. I say 8 months old. So my buddy Zach keeps coming to me and it's like, come on, hey man, my daughter's sleeping on his chest. That's what it was. She was sleeping on my chest, and I remember my phone ringing. I answered, and he's like, are you home? And as I'm saying yes, he's walking in my door. And he's like, I got this brilliant business plan, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, and he was a doctor shopper. And if people don't know what a doctor shopper is, it's pills. So he would go from doctor to doctor, getting as many pills as he can so he can sell them. And so...
What kind of pills are we talking here?
Oxys, Roxys, Xanax.
Oh, this is the
Percocets.
opioid epidemic.
Yes. Opioid. So he's like, hey man,
So he's not using, he's just making money.
No, he's just selling at the time. He's just selling. He parties on powder and everything else and, coke and stuff like that. But he parties hard. But he's doing this because there's a lot of money in it, and it's easy money. So I had a bad taste of the pain clinic. The pill mills is what they called them. I'm like, nah. He comes to me and he's like, hey, dude. He's like, I need to borrow $50,000. And I'm like, what for? And he's like, man,
50.
He's like, I was in a strip club last night, and I was sitting there. There's this guy in there just slinging money. So I wanted to keep up with him, so I started slinging money. And so I'm like, okay. So he's like, we ended up, he's like, I wasn't going to let him outdo me. I had to show him. And he's like, he broke me or whatever. So we started talking, and the guy was like, man, he goes, I could use somebody like you in my business or whatever. And he started telling him, he's like, yeah, he owns one of the clinics I go to, and I didn't know that. And he wants me to buy in, but I need so much money. I got so much money, but I need 50 grand more. And I'm like, why don't you go to your dad? His dad's a huge developer. And he's like, my dad ain't going to give me no money. So I'm like, well, why would I give it to you then? If your own dad don't believe in you, why am I going to give it to you? So for months, he kept asking me. I'm laying on the couch. I just been laying on the couch. I got nothing going on, just hang out with my daughter. So he asked me to go eat lunch one day. So I'm like, okay, let's go eat lunch. So we're going to go to Rachel's, the strip club down in West Palm. And we pass it, and I'm like, where are we going? He's like, oh, we got to make a stop. I got to sign some papers. So we pull into the clinic, actually the clinic that he wants to invest into. So we pull in, and I'm like, what's this? He's like, oh, I got to go in here to this place where we're going to have some paperwork real quick. So I go in, and it's a pain clinic, and it's right on Commercial Boulevard, downtown Fort Lauderdale. So I'm looking around, the cars, cops are going by, daily activities. There's, patients, doctors, files, nurses, everything going on, license on the wall. So I'm like,
this looks legit.
I'm like, wow, this is crazy. Like, it's just out here. Like, these are the pain clinics that I hear so bad about, and it's opening. It's not like hiding in the alleyway like I was, behind the corner slinging dope. This
seems way more legit than what you were doing.
This has got a billboard on the front, name of the pain clinic. So I'm like, wow, this is crazy. So then we leave. We go to the attorneys, and he's like, hey, tell this effing idiot right here that the pain clinic's all this stuff is legit. And he's like, yeah, it's all legit. You do it right. It's legit. So we leave. He goes to the accountant. He's setting up something with the accountant or whatever after he gets signed with the attorney. And he's like, hey, tell this guy that the pain clinic's all legit, and you can put your money in the bank, and it's all, you can claim it. He's like, yeah, you can claim it all. So, the wheels are starting to roll again. I'm like, this is pretty interesting. So I'm like,
This ain't
okay.
no lawn mowing business.
No, this ain't no lawnmower pool cleaning business. So I didn't, eventually I was like, okay, here's the 50 grand.
And remind me, at this point, you never said no drugs, no alcohol, personal consumption.
No.
You've been around all this for business, but you never used any of this.
No.
Still.
No, still haven't. I seen what it did to everybody else. You got to remember, I was always the youngest in the group. So
Did your mom and dad do drugs or alcohol?
My dad drank a little bit when we were younger. That's it.
Wow.
Just drink beer. Nothing crazy. Like I said, when he's sitting around a campfire, they would drink beer, and that's it.
You know something that's interesting to consider? You're moving through this clear-headed, straight, focused. You're making a lot of business decisions, and a lot of people around this stuff, I presume, are under the influence and all over the place.
Everybody.
You're not. You're clear-headed.
Most of the people that I sold to when I was in the Coke business, my clientele was all high-end clientele, business owners, lawyers, doctors, all the big professions, mainly business owners. I mean, very rarely was there anybody. I probably had the highest quality of clientele in town, because I wasn't a user, I was clean cut. I could fit in. I could show up to all their events and everything else, hook everybody up. And it was crazy because you would think that you see on TV, it's always the dirtball trailer park trash type. No, it's not.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised who's on it and who's partying. It blew my mind.
Yeah, I learned that at an earlier age. I was in treatment with a guy that was vice president of American Express. This one guy was backup drummer for like Buck Cherry, and I'm like, dude, these are like legit people.
Yeah.
It crosses all boundaries.
So my whole thing of it is I tell people all the time is that stress, money, and girls were the three number one things that got people on it. Stress caused them to drink or get on drugs. Okay?
Hide from the problems.
Yep. Money. You wanted to be a part of the thing. So you got the money. You want to fit in. People with money get around other people with money, and then you're like, oh, they're doing it too. I got to keep up. Let me do it. So they do it, and a lot of the guys I know do it because it's how you get the girls. It's how you get the girls. Girls want to party for free. So if you got the dope, you got the bag, you got the girls. And you'd be surprised which ones are doing it. It blows your mind.
Yeah. So you're in the spot now where you're walking through this clinic and the lawyers, the accountants are all telling you this is above board. So you're thinking like, this is my next lick, or did it take some more convincing?
It took a little bit more. It took me a couple weeks to...
Because you would go pick up a backpack full of kilos like that, and this is legal.
Yeah, because you got to remember, that is having my name on something. I was hiding behind. You got to remember. I'm doing this in the alleyway behind the dumpster. In the shadow. My name is not on nothing. This right here, your name is going to be on it. Like you're paying taxes. Your name is on it. You have to have a license. You got to have. It's all legit. So you have to, you got to be ready for it. I mean,
that is, you're almost going from illegitimate to legit-ish.
Well, that's why I ended up pulling the trigger and getting into it, because once the accountant said it, the lawyer said it, I did my research, and Zach sold it to me and said, Jason, there's enough money. I know what I do is wrong. And I told him, I said, I want no part of it, because doctor shoppers, people like you, like, how do we fix it? He says, he goes, Jason, there's enough money to do it legit. He goes, we're going to make so much money that we're not going to be able to spend it doing it legit. He says, while everybody else is doing it wrong, we'll do it legit. We won't be as big. We won't make as much money as them, but we're going to make enough money to where we don't have to worry about nothing.
Was he right?
No. He was never planning on doing it legit. That was just his selling points. He's a con artist. So I went ahead and got into it and did it. I was like, okay, here's the money. But I was only loan sharking at the beginning.
Oh, you were lending to him. Interesting.
I just didn't want to. I didn't want to finance something that I thought I would lose my money. You see what I'm saying? That's why I was like, nah, I'm not loaning you money. So, of course, like always, I get $5,000. I get my other draw $5,000. And all of a sudden, I don't see no more money. Keep coming around, keep talking to him.
Uh-oh.
Then it's all of a sudden, hey, I got a plan. We're going to do something. And he tells me, well, I'm not paying your money back. You're going to go in partners with me.
It almost sounds like he drug you in there. Like,
well, yeah, he didn't want to go down by himself. He told me at the end. So what happened was I was like, okay, well, here's the deal. If we do it, we're doing it legit. We're doing it the right way. That's the only way. And he's like, oh, I'm all in. So the goal we were doing it in Fort Lauderdale. That's where the hub, where the pain clinics was at. That was like the biggest thing.
Was anybody doing these pain clinics things on a big scale yet?
Yeah, the George Brothers, American Pain. There's a documentary about me and my co-defendants. Everybody in American Pain pretty much cooperated or started my case. I opted out of it because of how they were portraying it and what's going on. I wanted no part of it because they're all making it like a laughing joke and a game and stuff. It was never a game. It was never a joke. I did it. No one thought we were going to be doing it right. Them guys were doing it because they just wanted to make money and thought it was cool and whatever. I don't know what their intention. I can't speak on them. But at the end of the day, George Brothers wanted to do it like a Walmart Costco, like a huge one. We're seeing like 600, 700, 800 patients. They had like a big old bank building, like a 2-3 story building with huge parking lot and stuff. And they had, I don't know how many doctors in there. They were seeing crazy. They probably had 10, 12 doctors working in there, like a big, like little miniature hospital. They had parking people out there, parking people and all kinds of stuff. And they had lines inside. You got to watch the doc. It's crazy.
So when you saw that,
I did never see it.
Well, I mean, no. Oh, so you
I heard it.
Okay, so you heard about this and you're like, okay, there's a huge amount of demand. Like, this is legit. My buddy's doing this. Like, I think this is a real business.
Well, I was always told, the only reason why I heard about the George Brothers and I've seen how big this was is because they always talk about how stupid they were for doing it big. Everybody else is like, why would you want something that big and cause so much attention? Even if it's legit, why would you want something where it's just... You know, like the whole goal was to have a bunch of small ones with a couple doctors in each one seeing, 30, 40 patients a piece.
Oh, to stay under the radar.
Well, not really stay on the radar. They were just like, why would you want to cause that much tension? Because, and I'm like, well, I thought this is all legit. And they're like, yeah, it is. But you still don't want to bring uninvited attention on you. Like, what are you running? Like, that's what they call it. So Zach was like, that's what you call a pill mill.
A normal doctor's office doesn't quite look like that.
Yeah.
So maybe don't look like outside of what a doctor's office.
Well, that was the whole point. Everybody knew that this was a gray area. Everybody knew it wasn't.
Now, why was it a gray area though? Because doctors are licensed. You got a business. You're registered.
Because of all the doctor shopping and how everybody's selling their prescriptions and stuff, and how you can't regulate it, how you can't prove what they're doing, how the patients are lying.
So the doctor's writing prescriptions, but it might not be as straightforward as you would think.
No, it's not. And that's the problem. It's like when Zach and them would go in there, they would get a fake MRI from somebody saying they have all these problems. They go in there and talk, oh, doc, I'm hurting. I've tried everything. Nothing works. Da-da-da-da-da. And, so they're lying to the doctor. They're telling them they're getting coached, telling them what the doctor do. And then they turn right around. They're not even using the pills. They're selling them. And, so it's just, it looks really, really bad. So Zach and them tell me, I don't know nothing about the pill game at this time. I just hear the stories. I see what's going on. And Zach's like, no, there's a way of doing it. We can do this right. We can weed them out. We'll get them out of there. And we're going to start a bunch of these things up. We're going to make a ton of money. I'm like, okay, let's do it. But we're going to do it right. No such thing as doing it right. Not with him. So the goal is to learn as much as we could with Vinny, because Vinny was doing a lot of stuff.
Wait, now who's Vinny?
Vinny Colangelo is the one that Zach loaned the money to go and partner with.
Got it. Okay.
So
Zach was your buddy. Vinny was the other guy.
I ended up giving more money to Zach. We invested in 2 pain clinics in South Florida with Vinny. And so once that started going sour, Zach was like, he hired somebody in to come work. Because the thing is you have the doctors writing the scripts, and then you have an in-house dispensary, which is your own pharmacy, but it's in-house. And you use the doctor's license to get the pills. So they see the doctor and they can fill right there. So it's like the doctor writes them however many pills and you'd be like, you want to fill in house or do you want to go somewhere else? They're like, fill in house. So the nurse walks it right over to the back room where the pharmacy is and hands it to them. They prepare the pills, everything else. And then when it's ready, they come out front and call them and give them their prescription right there on the spot.
So you make any money on the doctor visit or no?
The doctor visit covers all the expenses, including buying the pills, and you probably have a couple $1,000s left over by the end of the day, maybe.
So the juice is fulfilling the prescription in-house.
Yeah, because 100%
and you guys are getting it from Purdue, the maker.
Yeah. We're getting it straight from Purdue. So
is that the only product y'all sold, or do you sell any others?
No, we sold others. We sold a lot of other products. that the doctors prescribe because they
In
had
Texas,
this.
they would do this thing where it was like Vicodin, Xanax, and muscle relaxers.
Yeah.
It was like a combo. All
Well, so,
three.
yeah, they call it the cocktail. So they would do Roxy 30s, Roxy 15s for your fill-ins or whatever, and then they would do like Somas, Xanax, all kinds of other stuff. And sometimes Percocets, Vicodins, depending, but it was always, the Roxy's 30s, 40s, which is the Malacrot 30s.
I can't even imagine someone walking out there with a pill bottle this big with 180. Like,
Yep, 30s.
dude, holy cow.
240 30s, 180 15s, 90.
It's just hit me. So, I have a little bit of experience, unfortunately, as a drug user when I was younger. So I go back and do this math. When I kind of stopped using it and cleaned up and all, it was like $1, 50 cents to $1 milligram. A 30 was 30 bucks.
It was always $1 milligram.
So for 30 bucks a pill times, let's say 180 pills, holy crap,
54.
one pill bottle is 5 G's.
And they're paying, and we were charging $2 a pill at in our in-house dispensary.
So y'all are charging $300 or $400, $500 for all the services, and they're selling stuff for $5,000.
Yeah, they're profiting. No, that's
making
just
money
that's
on the
just on
mark.
30s. There's 15s they're selling, Xanax and everything else. So they're
So there's a lot of margin across this. You guys are making a lot of money off the volume. They're making money on a bigger markup going to the end user.
Yep.
Wow.
So, like I said, and then they start bringing other people in and lying. So that we went in partner. So we had a hard time getting in with the pharmacy. The pharmaceutical companies are the hardest to get in with. So before we left Vinny, we were trying to figure out how to get in with the pharmaceutical companies. We're trying to figure out all the ins and outs, copy all the stuff, because we're going to go to Jacksonville. So we got to remember, we're in Fort Lauderdale, South Florida.
Okay.
We're going to go to Jacksonville. We're going to target the out-of-state patients. The reason why we're targeting the out-of-state patients is because they can't get, the laws are different in their states. But if you want a back surgery, you can go to Florida to the best doctors wherever you want, New York or LA, and get your back surgery. There's no laws saying you can't go across state lines to get medical treatment in the United States.
Wait, so why are they crossing state lines?
Because laws are different in different states.
So they basically can't get the
They
products,
can't get the products
where they're at.
So they have to go elsewhere to get it.
And they don't want to drive all the way to South Florida if they don't have to.
So we want to cut them off. We're the first one to do it. So we're like, why don't we set up a pain clinic in Jacksonville, Florida? 6 hours down, 6 hours back. It's 12 hours. Oh my gosh. So we're going to save them 12 hours, and we're under the same state law in Jacksonville. It's right on the state line of Florida, Georgia.
So you guys are getting like hiring doctors, getting a lease, getting, I guess, setting a corporation.
So we set up an LLC in Jacksonville. We get a building.
How do you get the right to distribute the medicine from the manufacturer? Do you have to get like an FDA license or something?
No. So what we had to do is first we had to get the doctor. So we didn't have no experience. You got to remember, we graduated high school, no college.
No,
so,
y'all ain't come from the medical business.
No. So it's like, Zach, how do we hire doctors? And so we kind of like Googled it, like what question to ask and like that. So we kind of like just wing it. So we dress up. So we like dress up in some decent suits and stuff. You know how we found them? We put a ad on Craigslist.
The doctors?
Yeah, we put an ad on Craigslist, and we had so many doctors hit us up. It wasn't even funny. So we went on so there's doctor hedge hunters. They find them like headhunters.
Oh yeah.
That actually, but they cost like 10, 15 grand just per doctor they find for you and hire them. So the first couple we winged it and we did it and we were actually successful at hiring them. So whenever ordered to do it.
What's your pitch like to these doctors? We're opening up a clinic. It's going to be pain oriented.
And they're like, you got any experience? You a doctor? And like, no, you go to medical school? No, sir. And they're like, what are you doing? We're like, well, we're investors. We're creating, it's like our sales pitch was, well, hospitals are not owned by the doctors. They're owned by investors.
True.
So
did they understand the expectation was to facilitate a very specific need?
What we told them was, so they were independent contractors. We had the building, we supplied the patients, and they rented the room. They got paid $50 per patient they seen. They picked their schedule, their days that they're going to be there. They rent a room like a barber, just like a barber. So I own the room and the chair. He comes there and cuts hair. And I bring people in, and he pays to rent that booth, whatever, and he gets the traffic off of at my barber shop, and he can bring his traffic in. Same thing. So I supply the patients, I supply the building, I supply everything. He comes there and sees my patients, and I get a cut. He gets paid so much, I get
That's
a cut.
why you're not making a ton of money. The doctor's still kind of expensive. You got to deal with that, overhead, all that.
So the deal is you do this, we get it's called a 222 form. His prescribe, or they give him a number, a DEA registration number, so where they can actually purchase medication to sell themselves too, because they get the option for it. So what we do is we rent his DEA registration. Some
So
of them
that's
charge,
how you're able to sign up with the drug
Yes.
maker.
Yep. But the thing is if you don't have a relationship with them, they won't pretty much sign you up at all. And we had to find somebody. That's when we came up with bringing other people in to get that, because that's where later in life I realized how corrupt and what was going on. They wouldn't just deal with anybody, Purdue Pharma and all these big people.
What do you mean?
Well, there wasn't enough pills. The DEA gives us our license. The DEA would come to our clinics once we fill out the paperwork to approve us. They're the ones that would come there, inspect the place, clear us, clear the building, clear the doctor, and then give us the approval to operate.
Would y'all schedule that be a light day? Or would you have
No. They have to. We couldn't. That all happened before we opened. We had to have their approval and their license stamped.
Okay.
Like you go and get a business license. You have to like say you're going to get a permit to build something. You have to get the permit before you can build it.
This is like a front end inspection type
Yeah,
thing.
that's all it is.
So they're not showing up on a random Tuesday when
No.
you have like junkies down the block.
Nope, not at all. So we hired this ex-DEA agent, Lewis Fisher. He was a consultant, very expensive. And, we hired him to help us get approved and do all the stuff and to monitor the doctors and everything else. He worked in the pharmaceutical department of the DEA for 20 or 30 years. So he retired and became a consultant.
Oh, he knew the ropes.
He knew the ropes. He had the connects. He knew the people in there and everything. So he comes in and checks your books, meets with your doctors, and, goes over everything and consults with them, has meetings and stuff of like because there's no such thing as, there's no rules. So my indictment was prescribing oxycodone outside the guidelines of medical practice. So you got to remember, I got out of the drug trade to go into a legal drug trade. I thought I was, it can be done, but it's not. It's so vague. That's why they call it malpractice for insurance purposes.
But what are the regulations?
There's none.
Because it sounds like you're writing a prescription to a person
There's
who
nothing
needs
in black
this
and
probably.
white. There's nothing in black and white. It's so vague, and they left it that way for a reason. So if you watch the TV series Painkillers or Dope Sick on Hulu and Netflix, it's about the Sackler family, how they lobbied Congress to exempt them from prosecution. So they would never be prosecuted for anything. So it's like, why would you lobby Congress to exempt you from ever being prosecuted, right? So think about this. If you knew you weren't doing nothing wrong, why would you lobby Congress?
Yeah, why do you need that?
Why do you need that? Why do you need that right there? So none of us knew that. You don't find out this until later on in life. And it's so wouldn't you run wide open and do whatever if you knew you'd never get in trouble?
Oh, interesting. So that's what the maker was doing. I've seen some documentaries on that brand, and I'm like, any bit of information that comes out tells you it's heroin. It is freaking heroin.
It is. It comes from the same plant.
And
opiate
they
plant.
don't manufacture that stuff and go through everything they did and not have 100% certainty that's what it is.
Well, no, the guy that proved it went to work for them. He denied them so many times the approval because of the addiction rate of it. And then they kept trying to lobby him and finally gave him some big 7-figure.
So they got approved.
Yeah, so he approved it right before he went to go work for them.
So is this where like the real because you got some crazy stuff happening, but from when you and I were talking earlier, the money seems like it changed differently here than it was in the first round of the drug trade.
So once you get the doctors, you get the pills. So you got to remember, the doctor visits pay for all the prescriptions to us to stock the pharmacy, pay the doctors, the employees, and you have just a little bit of money left over. So the pills is 100% profit. That's where all the money's to be made. Like I wanted to get out of the pain clinic business towards the end and just get into pharmacies because why you think
Let someone else deal with this.
No, think about it. Why is Walmart, CVS, Walgreens, everybody wants a pharmacy? Why is everybody, Rite Aid, why is everybody fight to have their own pharmacy? There's so much money in it.
So what are you paying per pill for this kind of stuff?
So the Roxy 30s, we're paying an average, give or take, about around 60 cents. We're selling them for like $2.50 a pill.
And they're selling for $30 on the black market at the point of use.
Well, towards the end, so get back on the subject of the DEA. The DEA regulates how many pills are allowed to be made. a year. Okay, so they have some way to figure out or
The
calculate.
manufacturer doesn't do that?
No.
Ford says I'm going to produce 3,000 trucks this year.
No, they
Purdue
don't.
doesn't do that?
No, DEA does it. DEA will say, like, we're only going to allow y'all to make 30 million pills. We think that 30 million pills is what is going to be the quota this year. So
how do they come up with that number?
I don't know. Still this day, I don't know. I think there's only 3 big manufacturers back then, or 2, 3. And then each one of them would bid out. So you would probably get 10 and he gets 7 and he gets to make 3 million. It was weird how they came up with the numbers. Everything was weird. So we would actually, put it this way, all the companies would sell out 4 to 6 months, around 3 to 4 months before the end of the year. So we go 3 or 4 months without nobody being able to buy nothing because we already ran through the 30 million or whatever it was.
Whoa.
So
you're out of product. Supply problems again.
Yeah.
Back to that.
And that's why we started, the pills would go up to like $4.50 at the pharmacy. And but the problem of it is it wasn't the same. Don't get me wrong. It was stressful, but nobody had none. So what did it matter?
Everybody's business is probably slow at that point.
Everybody's business was slowing down.
So what are users doing at this point then? Because when you use those, you can't just stop.
No, they're still able to get them. See, the pharmacies had a different, they had a different quota they can do, like a real pharmacy. The in-house dispensaries, they would only allow us to sell us so much, and then they would allow the other pharmacies to get the remaining amount. So they didn't go through as many pills, so they would give us a percentage of the 30 million. I'm making up the 30 million. They give us a percentage of it, and then the rest of it went to the other companies.
They divvy it up.
Yeah, they divvied it up, but they made sure that they stayed because they're bigger, they had more money, they had more lobbying, so they were get a bigger pie than we were.
So the CVSs and the Walmarts had more consistent year round.
Yeah, they would never run out really. Okay. So our customers would go to them. But the thing about it is, I mean, we were averaging at the time that we had all of our clinics in Florida, we were profiting $1 million a month. I mean, a week. We were profiting $1 million a week between a couple of his partners.
Whoa. So you're talking $3-4 million in a month.
Yeah. At the age of 25.
Dude, you're a young guy, grew up kind of in a rural area, stable, but not like balling by any means.
So you got to remember now. You remember now. So I don't have to flip houses. I don't have to launder my money. My money goes in the bank.
Clean.
Money goes to the bank. So we're buying Ferraris, Lamborghinis, helicopters, planes, houses all over the place. We can't spend the money fast enough. My monthly expenses. It costs me.
Are you thinking this is going to last forever at this point? Like
no, but we were doing so much stuff. We were investing into other businesses. We were starting this, starting that. I mean, I had a hydroponic fertilizer company I was taking off the ground. I was investing into, I had so many businesses, buy here, pay here. So I was doing the financing in buy here, pay here lot places.
On the cars.
So, you know, all these little car dealerships, I would set up a computer with a person in there to do the buy here, pay here.
Those are good returns.
So I'd have a tracking device. So I would buy the card for the dealer, then I'd make them sign all the stuff. So as soon as they didn't miss a couple payments, I'd go get the car and put it back on the lot and sell it again.
Oh my goodness.
So I had money coming in from every different angle. I mean, my last year when I got indicted, I was going to make between $9 to $12 million. It was bringing at 26 years old.
Is life at this point, is it fulfilling? Do you feel like I've made it? Like when I hit a certain point in my business, I was like, you know, I'm here. I made it. Do you feel like I'm here? I've made it? It's just one mountain?
First year, it was absolutely insane, crazy. Because I was spending.
What's your family saying? What are your friends thinking?
They all want money. They're all trying to find a way to get their hands in the piggy bank.
God.
They want to ride for free. They want to be around. Everybody wants to be around you. Everybody wants to be involved. Everybody wants to enjoy the toys, the money, the everything. They want to enjoy the lifestyle. Now I know why the rich hang out with the rich. Why?
Because they don't have to subsidize anybody else. We all do this together. Exactly. You got your bill, I got my bill.
You're the only person that answers that really. So let me explain to you understand this. So if you have all the money and your friends don't, and you want to go do something, you're going to go by yourself, or you're going to have to pay for everybody to go with you.
Yeah, but if you got other rich friends,
you have rich friends, so they pay their own way. It doesn't cost you anything.
Interesting.
So...
And you don't have to deal with a bunch of tough situations with people that were close to you.
Well, here's the problem. Well, that's why I lost all my friends first, and then I lost all my family second.
That happens with a lot of success, actually.
People are like, what do you mean you lost your friends? I'm like, okay, so we got the editing guy over and got you. Y'all two don't hang out with each other, but I hang out with both of y'all, right? So I take him. You're going, man, why'd you take him? whoa, man, F him. Who cares about him? Why you should have took him? Whatever.
Oh, you're being divided by two sets of friends.
Yeah. So then it's like, man, who are you to tell me who I could take? Like me and him, he's a fisherman. So I went fishing with him. You don't fish. So why am I going to invite you?
Right.
When I want to ride dirt bikes, I'm going to ride dirt bikes with you. So that was the problems that I was running into, was that now all of a sudden, like, oh, you think you're too good. You hang out with such and blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, bro, dude, like, so I get mad. And I'm losing friends. Family members are doing it next. They're putting themselves in bad situations. Like, oh, you got all this money. Why can't you share? Why don't you help me? Why don't you start a business for me? Why don't you loan me this? Why don't you this? And then after a while, you just finally like, well, you're not doing nothing. You're just blowing it. You're wasting it. Like, no, I'm not doing nothing. Were you doing more? And when you tell people no, and you have all this money, and you got to remember, my average spending was a month to live my lifestyle and playing between all the race cars, race boats, all the craziness, strip club nights, $250,000 easy a month. Maybe some months, $350,000 a month. But you got to remember, I'm bringing in $800,000+ clear. So I'm spending a third of it, an average a third of what I'm bringing in. And I'm keeping 2/3, put away.
Dang. There's all these unintended consequences. You started out in the illegal drug business, got into the semi-legal, I guess you'll call it. You're having friends, relationship problems. Like, there's a lot happening. And to make matters worse, a 25-year-old guy, men mature slower than women. So, like, I didn't get my shit together until I was probably 30. Yeah. You're still a young dude, like, trying to sort through all this. It's a lot.
So this is where you were saying that, like you're saying, so the first year or so, it was just exciting, boy. I'm telling you right now, I was full blown. I was full on, worst I've ever been in my life. That kind of money, the excitement that I'm able to see. Before, I couldn't spend my money. I couldn't just go and get the baddest of everything, because then people were like, how's he got that? Now I can go get the
clean now.
I can go get the Ferrari, Lamborghini, park in the driveway. We can go get the baddest race toys, the baddest this. We can, we're parking helicopters in the front yard. My coach saying, like, we're doing the dumbest things you can think about. We're young and dumb, full of money, and just didn't care.
South Florida, 25 years old.
Well, you got to remember, it's all legit. So who can say what? Accountants are accounting for it and everything else. So the crazy part about it is that towards the end, once it started settling down, then I'm getting back into real estate. Now I'm starting to think, because the real estate.
Why are you getting back into real estate now? Because this is money that's clean, and the reason you got to do it earlier
12,000. Because you got to remember, this 2011, 2012, right? So now we're at the bottom of the real estate thing. Okay, so
that's when I got into real estate. It was fluttering at the bottom, and I eased into it.
So I was like, I got all this money. Real estate's so cheap. I'm trying to close. There was this gated community. It had 5-acre plots. It was called White Fences. It was a gated community. Everything was 5 acres. So there was 2 back lots that were real cheap. I was buying the 2 back ones in the cul-de-sac at the end. I was buying this 30 or 40 acres right on the corner close to I-95 and exit that I knew was going to be booming. And it was for sale for like $600-something where it was at. And I was like, oh my God, this is a steal. And
so you're actually investing into real estate now, not washing money.
Yeah. So now I'm investing because I'm thinking the long term. So I bought 113 acres in Tennessee, built a nice home on it. I had got a place out in Colorado. So now I'm getting back into the real estate because I'm starting to build, my real estate. And I'm trying to like buy up stuff. In 30, 40 acres, I was going to do my own development. So what I was going to do is I was going to subdivide it up. So I was going to take and split some of it, and I was going to do, I don't know, like, I think it might have been 60 acres. I can't remember, because I was going to take off like 10 or 15 acres, and I was going to put a road and do lots with a cul-de-sac, and I was going to use that and sell those to pay for the rest of the property, so it'd be free and clear for me to put my compound to do what I want to do, and build. But at this point, I'm starting to buy lots. I'm starting to buy everything, because all I'm hearing from everybody is that everything is cheap and it's going to start turning around some point.
That makes sense, yeah.
And, the economy started getting, starting to turn. You're starting to see things move. So I started to buy, and that didn't last very long. That's when the feds came knocking.
Why didn't it last long?
Feds come knocking. We had some issues the very first day that we opened up the Jacksonville clinic. The George brothers had the big thing. We ended up still on their patient list. Wasn't the smartest thing to do, but it's one of those things that everybody told us, if you get into the pain clinic business and you do this, the George brothers are going to come after you. They thought they were like mobsters and gangsters and stuff.
So they're like the big dogs in town. The one you were saying that wanted like the Walmart or the Costco
They wanted nobody to get into business. And if you did, they come and threaten you and,
And these guys have been in a lot longer than anybody?
Yeah, they've been in it a little bit longer than everybody else and thought they owned the business and they're rich kids. Dad was a huge developer out of South Florida. So 16 years old, they're going to high school in Ferraris, Lamborghinis. They're two twins, big steroids. And so they, just doing their thing, threatening people. So me and Zach thought it would be funny to send a stripper in there to steal the patient list. We weren't able to get a stripper to get it, but we ended up getting it. And we called all the patients and told them their next visit that American Pain is not seeing out-of-state patients no more, and that their next visit be at Jacksonville, that we're going to save them a 12-hour
You just
trip.
cut their drive in.
Cut their drive, yeah. So they were so excited, and we told them if they showed up down there, they'd be discharged. So the very first day we opened, none of the out-of-state patients went to their place.
So these dudes, they might not have heard what you're doing, but they know something's up on that Tuesday. Something changed.
Yeah, something changed. So they called the patients and were like, "Hey, where you at? You coming thing?"
Why are you all missing your appointment?
Yeah. So we're like, we're at your new thing. So anyways, they showed up, guns got pulled, things went down, and cops got called. And let's just say that they told the cops that we're not extorting them. We're not doing this. This is part of our business. Like, we own part of this business. Well, they were under a federal investigation. And so the feds are thinking like, well, how did we miss this pain clinic? Like, how did we miss it? We've been watching these guys. How did we miss it?
So you weren't on the radar. They were the big fish. I mean, you were killing it, but you were smaller than the big fish.
Yeah. So they were on the radar, and we wasn't. So that put us on the radar because now the feds are going, well, now we got to watch this because now they're saying that they own this thing. So how did we miss this? Oh, shit. So they started watching us.
You're square in the crosshairs.
Well, yeah. So that's where it all fell down. But here's the thing about it. This is what's the crazy thing about it. So right towards the end, it got to the point where it was so much pressure coming down, big pharma and all the stuff going on. And they're cracking down on all the amount of pills we can get, making us jump through hoops and all this stuff. So it got to a point where I'm like, why are we even got pain clinics open anymore? Because we started expanding all over the place. We're going to Hollywood. We're coming to Texas. We're going to Missouri. We're expanding all over the place, Atlanta. And I'm like, why are we doing this? Like, why don't we just get into the pharmacy business? Strictly just pharmacies. And I had met one of the pharmacist techs that we had. Her dad was a pharmacist, and he owned his own mom and pop. And when CVS and Walgreens come in, they buy all the mom and pops up. He held out, and they paid big money for his towards the end. And he told me, he's like, you know what you ought to do? He says, there's a way to make a lot of money. He says, if you had the money, which I know you do, if you would start up so many pharmacies right as close as you can get to every CVS and Walgreens, because wherever you see a CVS, there's a Walgreens right across the street. So he's like, go and start up a one around all the chains everywhere. Started like, because we were in Atlanta at the time. He's like, try where? So we found 10 locations. We were starting 10 of them, calling JJR, Jesse, Jason, and Roland, my three partners. Me and my two other partners. There's three of us. And we're going to start a chain, and we're going to open these things up. And what we're going to do is we're going to send all of our patients, all the pain clinic people, to our clinic or to our pharmacies to fill their scripts. And we'll sell everything else at cost to beat the prices down to get people to come to our place just to stomp on their feet. For why? What do you think we did that for?
To buy it out.
To buy us out. So if you start, we were going to start 10 at the first, but I wasn't going to sell out until I got like 40 or 50 of them for tens of millions of dollars. They can buy me out.
You're thinking big here.
And I wasn't going to do it to make a profit at first. I was doing it just to break even. I was going to use the pain clinics out of Florida, market to all the patients that, hey, we fill for pain clinics and stuff like that, and get them to come in just to keep the doors open. Just so we can put so much pressure on them, sell stuff, everything else cheaper to get the still customers from CVS Walgreens to make them come and buy us out for like $30, $40 million.
Dude, the wheels were still turning, like stepping up. So then how did you find out the feds were looking at you?
They raided the place.
Oh, God, you couldn't hide from that.
No, so...
What's that day look like? Walk me through that day. You show up at work at what time?
I didn't show up to work. I was at the house. I get a phone call from Zach. And
at this time, were you going into these locations daily? Or
no, I don't. No, I don't go into. I had so much other stuff going on. I wasn't going. I put people in. So
you had management.
So
there.
like kind of like you, what we were talking about. I don't, in this business with this much cash, and we're bringing in like $8 million a month between the clinics and cash and stuff and everything going on, you have to trust people. So everybody that I put in as top management, I brought them in as a percentage owner because now they got skin in the game. So now they want to make sure every penny's accounted for, things are going right, because I made sure that it was people that wanted to run a legit business, that didn't want to do things bad, and that if somebody's stealing, they're going to catch them because it's cutting into their profit. So I brought them in as a partner because there's just a lot of cash involved. And so I get a phone call from one of my co-defendants that Zach, because I pulled away from Zach because he just wouldn't straighten up in Florida. So I pulled away from him. And started
He's still part of the business?
No, he screwed me out of it just like Vinny screwed him out of money. You got to remember, Zach's the one that put me away for the stolen dirt bike stuff back in the day. And I ended up, whatever, because
rekindling a friendship.
Yeah, rekindling a friendship.
Okay, so then y'all are running these, but you start to have to separate some partnerships then.
Yes, because in Jacksonville, we ended up opening up 3 clinics in Jacksonville. So we hired doctors. So when we go to hire staff, this is where the problem started. Remember, we were going to allow drug dealers, and we were going to allow the doctor shopping. We were going to try to bust down on that, right? So when it come time to hire staff, we run an ad on Craigslist. Medical office positions, secretaries, whatever, assistants, send pick.
Send pick?
Send pick.
Oh, no. I know.
So we're going through and we're like, hot. Oh. So we go through hot, right? So we just like, no, yes, no. It's like swiping on Tinder. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, we
get a recipe for trouble right here.
Yeah, dude, but you got to remember, young.
Young.
Yeah. We're
money
20,
coming
25
in.
years old.
You guys don't feel like you have any boundaries at this point.
No.
The things you've already been through, people trying to kill you, dealing with cartel brass. Like at this point, you've got to feel like there are no boundaries.
Well, it's not that there's no boundaries. I feel like now that I escaped the illegal drug trade. Now I can be me and be a clown, do stuff. I can start living life. I don't have to be so uptight because now it's like I got lawyers found doing the paperwork. I got agents, DEA agents approving us. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, that's
like everything's legit. We got accountants now. I don't have to hide. I don't have to do nothing. Like now I can be who I want to be in a way, So we're like, well, let's have hot chicks here. Like, why would we want to look at ugly chicks? So these girls come in. So I'll never forget. It's me, my co-defendant, and this other partner of mine. Not partner, but a good friend of ours. So we got these clipboards, and it's like tits, ass, face, so we would score them. So they come in. We wouldn't even ask them questions. We'd be sitting there talking to each other.
This is supposed to be a job interview, and this is like a dating.
So we're like, and we go back and we score them all out. So the hottest ones had the highest scores. We would bring them in and hire them. So you already know what kind of recipe of disaster that was. They were easy to bribe. So everybody's coming in and it's like, hey, there's 50 people in front of them, What is it going to take to get to the top? Hot chicks don't have $50. It's like, come on, man. Other chick would have been like, give me 200, like, you know what I'm saying? Like type thing. Make it worth my while to lose my job. So, they're charging this. Next, people are skipping. They're failing drug tests because you had to have, no illegal substance in you. You had to have that pills in you because you're showing that you're using them. So we're doing urine acid. So they're failing that. So they're paying $100 to pass, $100 to bump their files up. Oh. It's just so much corruption. We're trying to weed it out. We fire all the girls. Zach brings them back. He's getting. I walk in his office one time, and he's being real quiet. I'm talking to him. He's just looking at me, smiling or whatever. And girls under the table.
Oh wow,
taking care of business.
Like circus.
So it's a full-on circus. It's just out of control, and this is not what I signed up for. I'm not seeing, like, laws being broken yet. I mean, like, is it, paying to bump your thing up? Scrutinized, but it's not against the law. So there's all these things that are going on that, I'm like, I want no part of this. Like, just, no. So that's when I made the decision. This is not what we became partners. This is not what we agreed on. I'm out of here. And he didn't pay me my percentage, so I just pretty much just like,
I'm going to do my own thing.
I don't care. I did this to do it the right way. I'm out of here. So I started going to do my own thing, put my own team together.
You're going to rubber stamp it, do this again, because you know the plan.
I know that, and I know I got all the people, got all the connects. So we go to Atlanta. We're opening up stuff, and I'm running operation out of, that's where my hub is, out of Atlanta. And I get a phone call from Zach one morning saying, "Hey man, have you used your card?" I'm like, "No, why?" And he's like, "Man, I just went to the get gas this morning and it declined." And I went to the ATM and it said,
so you and Zach are still on talking terms somewhat.
Very little.
Okay.
Very
but you
little.
still have that association, so you got to talk some.
So I just like, he answered me. He's like, "Hey, answer your phone." So I answered it. He's like, "Dude, I just went to ATM and it said -1 billion or whatever."
What?
Yeah. He said a -1 billion. I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah." So I don't know. I said, "I'm right here around the corner. Let me stop." And I go to use the pump. I can't use my card. So I go to the bank and it says -2. So I'm like, man, what's going on here?
And you're thinking, I got 6, 7 figures in this thing.
So they raided the clinics and they raided everything in Florida, not my Georgia operation, just the Florida one. And none of the people have been able to call Zach to let him know because the feds got everybody sitting down. They got everybody detained. And
they locked the credit card or the bank account at the same time, like
yeah, they do everything together. Yes, so they hit all the locations all together. Every location they hit, I don't know how many search warrants at once, and then they freeze the bank accounts all at once too. So everything is like a light switch getting turned off, boom, at the same time. So he hasn't been able to get a hold of nobody. Nobody at the clinics are answering. So he finally finds out that the feds raided the clinics in Florida and shut everything down. And you got to remember,
and does he tell you that during this call?
No, I didn't figure that out until like 20, 30 minutes later. So this is what's so crazy is that you got to remember, we were doing what with the money? Keeping it all in the bank. So the Fed seized everything. So I only had what cash I had in my pocket that day on me. And you got to remember, I still had cash hidden back at home from the drug days. But you got to remember, it wasn't much because I've spent a lot of it. I done put it into, like bank, it's almost gone, So I'm sitting here thinking like, oh my God, dude, like this is crazy. Luckily I had my businesses where they're up and running and they didn't shut them down. So where I had a stockpile of pills. I had, I can rebound. So what I started doing was we hired attorneys. We went and met with attorneys, give this attorney $100,000 just to sit down and talk. And he's like, I'll go meet with the feds. He comes back and he's like, oh, you're going to prison. You're going to take a plea deal. You're going to prison. I'm like, what do you mean? You just went mad. And he's like, oh, they don't play around. The feds don't play. Like they told me you're going to prison no matter what, you're going to prison. So I fire him. He takes my $100,000. I go hire another one. He wants $100,000. I tell him no. So I give him $50,000. He goes, does the same thing, comes back and he's like, dude, you're done. You're going to have to go to prison. You just need to take a plea. I said, what do I do with my other things? He says, listen, this is what I'm going to tell you. He says, you can shut it down and hope for the best, or you can keep it up and running and stack as much money and put it away because you're going to prison. So I took plan B. We would put enough money in the bank, which it was the wrong plan. We would put enough money in the bank to run the operation today, every day. You know what I'm saying? So whatever.
In case you got frozen, you didn't leave too much.
Yeah. So I only put enough money in the bank every day just to keep the operations up and running. That's it. The rest of it, we kept it and hid it.
If they're watching, they recognize what you're doing. Probably.
Yeah, they knew exactly what we were doing. Here we are, we're having, say, $100,000 deposits to $9,000 a day type thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, they knew what time it was. So now they watching even more. But besides the point, I should have took option A because I beat the first case, which we'll talk about. And the second one would have never came about, most likely. So we hired, a team of attorneys. We had everything in thing. Everybody said we're doing everything legit in there. So I didn't know if I was going to get hit for Florida. So
so this was about Georgia.
No, this is about Florida. This is about Florida only. Georgia's up and running. All my other operations, all my stuff without Zach is up and operating. All Zach's stuff got shut down. All Zach's up, but they didn't arrest nobody. So they said indictments would be coming soon. So I'm like, what?
I'm surprised they didn't go look at both of them. This is federal. So I would think they hit them both, but for some reason they chose not to. They had a plan.
No, they just did Florida. That's the ones that they targeted on, and that's what they did. So what they were doing is they were watching my Georgia one and separated the indictments is what they ended up doing. So 18 months later, they raid our Georgia.
Wait, how many months later?
18.
Oh, they let this run.
16 or 18 months later. I think 16 or 18 months later, they hit my Georgia operations. And they hit my mom's, my brother's house, my house, all the locations. They hit all my co-defendants, family members too.
Wait, why would they hit your parents? You haven't mentioned your parents involved in this at all.
No.
Was that strategy?
Well, because they assumed that well, there's some phone calls where I would help mom out. You know, I'd help the family members out, give them money, do stuff for them. So they assumed that we were probably hiding money in our parents, you know, family, close family members. Anybody that you're in touch with close, like, so my one co-defendant, they never raided his house. They only raided his mom's house because their intel knew that he never kept no money there. He
Didn't
kept it at
waste
his
their
mom's.
time.
So we're like, why waste their time? So they raided the moms and found a bunch of money. So, and that's the thing about it is, so they did that. They still didn't indict us. It wasn't until a month later they indicted us. And they indicted us in Georgia first. And then 2 months later, a month later, then the Florida indictment came. So I was fighting 2 federal cases at once.
But Florida happened way before Georgia.
It did. And I was going to go to the trial in Georgia first, and then it got
Do you think they were
postponed.
really planning this stuff out well, or was it just kind of working out like this?
No, they were planning it out. And if I have the guess that I've been told, because I hired Brian Steele, Young Thug and P. Diddy's attorney back then. I had Brian Steele, and so he's like an A-class attorney. You know, it costs like $250,000 just to retain him.
Yeah, top dog.
So, and he's probably way more than that now. He's probably $500,000 or better now, I'd say. So that my case would probably be $1 million case just to get started, what I had. Anyways, what I feel like what they were doing was, from what I understand, is they put more pressure on me and separated because they knew that I would fold, if you know what I'm saying, because it put a life sentence on me, that they were going to put pressure on me because Zach and them didn't have nobody really. You know, they wasn't in the big shit.
They were
wanted
telling
me-
you they were asking for life, or they're saying the
No, my
charges we've
charges-
got, if you get them, this equals life.
Well,
Like, how's that work?
the first plea deal was 37 years, and then it went down 32, 20-something.
Oh, they're
They stopped
negotiating a little bit.
No, I just kept waiting them out, and they kept coming down. So it got to 15 years, but every one of them was with cooperation. So I had to cooperate on all these people. In order for them to put a max pressure on me and give me much time, they had to indict me. You know, they separated the indictment, had 2 shots at the pie. You know, bites at the apple type
Dirty.
thing. So what they did was they separated the indictments and separated me and charged me twice, and to put a lot of time on me to get me to turn on Bahamas, Colombia, my California.
So they
operation.
arrested you and then you bonded out or bailed out.
So they arrested me, and it took 3 or 4 days to get my first appearance. And that 3 or 4 days, they kept moving us from county jail to county jail to county jail.
Why?
Because they didn't want the attorneys to catch up to us. And I could never get first appearance in time anybody could find us, and probably were trying to get attorney visits. Because my Florida attorney, I called her when they were arresting us, and I'm like, hey, if you don't hear from me, they arrest me. So she was the one that hired Brian Steele and made sure I had the best legal team as possible. So they were trying to find me, and they kept moving me. So I couldn't get an attorney visit, and they could find me to a hearing. So they were trying to hope that I would go to the first appearance with no attorney, no help, no nothing. So my legal team, when I'm sitting in the holding cage behind the judge's chambers, a team of attorneys come in and are like, who's this, who's that, and who's Votrobek, and that's me. And they're like, well, I don't know if you know, but whoever Brooke Butler is to you, which is my Florida attorney, you're one special person because she hired the best legal team as possible to get all y'all. So I got denied bond. I had to wait a couple weeks, and I finally got out on bond to fight my cases.
Do you have to post a bunch of money? Or
No, not in the feds, you don't.
Really?
The feds, they don't care about that. They print the money. They don't care when they print it. Money means nothing to them. So then I went back in because, I had Microbrew Fertilizer, my fertilizer company. So I went into running my businesses, doing what I needed to do while I was out on bond. And
so at this point, the pill mills are shut down.
yeah, the pill mills are shut down.
There's no more of the old illegal drugs. You're like fertilizer company.
Yeah, because they
got
even shut
some
down my
real
pharmacies
estate.
too. They shut down 4 of my pharmacies could get up and running. I had one that was going to have a grand opening. They shut it all. They shut everything down, seized everything. So everything's on the thing. The only thing is still up and running. Some of my little businesses that were able to survive the bank accounts getting seized. So I'm really focusing on them to try to get them to go so we can make it. And I'll never forget, we're in West Palm at the strip club. We stopped there at lunchtime, and my partner was like, well, come on, let's go to the spot. So I'll never forget, I'm getting a lap dance. And this girl, I'm sitting in the booth, and the girl's shaking her ass on me. I'm sitting back in the booth. My phone won't stop ringing. I look over, and it's my ex, Jamie. At the time, it was my girl, my child's mother. And she keeps calling. I keep hitting it because I'm in a lap dance, And then she texted me and was like, hey, Georgia just indicted you.
How did she find out?
No, Florida just indicted you because Georgia indicted me first. my attorney had called her and was like, hey, so dude, I'm literally, my stomach drops because I'm out on bond. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking like, if I get 2 indictments, I'm never coming home. I'll never forget, dude. She's bent over, and I guess I pushed her harder than what I did. I thought I just like pushed her away. Well, I pushed her, and her head went down, hit the wall, and slid down the wall. So I get up, and I'm just walking, and she's in my face, screaming, hit me and stuff. So I just keep going, whatever. I call the attorney.
You're like, at this moment, you're probably in like a
tunnel
trance.
Vision.
Like, yeah,
tunnel vision. And so I call, and I'm like, what's going on? She's like, your attorney just called and said that they just indicted you in Florida and want to know what day you want to turn yourself in. You got to remember, this is a Friday. So I'm like, okay, so we're getting on the turnpike, and there's a deputy hiding behind the little toll things, and I didn't have our seatbelts on. So they were pulling they had deputies waiting there pulling us over. So here I'm thinking I got a warrant for my arrest. So I'm like,
now
listen,
it's live, it's active.
So I'm like, listen, I'm going to jail. They're going to it's over with. And she's like, what? I'm like, listen, they just pulled us over. Well, there's no warrant. So they let us go, give us a warning.
It's an indictment, but not a warrant.
Yeah. It's not an arrest warrant yet because they said when you want to turn yourself in, so they never did arrest warrant. So I went to Disneyland that whole weekend, went to Disney World for my daughter to hang out because I wanted to spend time with her. I didn't think they were going to give me bond. It's the worst mistake I ever did because the whole time I was there, I'm just walking, looking at her going, and tears rolling down my eyes.
Oh, God.
I'm just like, man, I'm just going to go forever. Like, why did I even do this thing? I got out of the illegal drug trade to get into something legit, and here I am, in more trouble than this. So they give me bond. I walk right in, I walk right out. I'm like, well, that's crazy. So 2 years in, after fighting, I finally go to trial in Florida first.
Wait a second. You went to trial. That means they're offering you deals the whole way.
15 years.
Said no.
Yeah, 15 years with with cooperation. And I'm like, I'm not cooperating, and 15 years is way too much for something. I'm like, you haven't even told me what I did wrong. They're like, you know what you did wrong.
But does the indictment say that?
Yeah, but no, the indictment doesn't say much. You can look them up. They're on. I got them on Linktree on my thing and stuff. The indictment's just, if you read it, it's just prescribing oxycodone outside the guidelines of medical practice. There's nothing in the thing that says that we told the doctors or anybody what prescribed, that we all had an agreement, that there's no pills being sold out the back door. There's no telling the doctors you're going to write this much, you're going to be fired.
You're not a doctor, but you're being indicted for prescribing oxycodone outside of medical guidelines. You're not even a doctor.
Yeah,
that sounds
it's
like
called conspiracy. It's a group thing. So you conspired with the doctors to do it.
Conspiracy to do that.
It's conspire. Yep, it's conspiracy.
So they linked you to the doctors through conspiracy.
Through conspiracy. And so what they do is that they tie us all in with a conspiracy. So it's a thought crime. You don't even have to commit it. All they got to do is prove that the intentions were there. So I was like, well, you don't even have nobody saying that I told attorneys, and she had talked to them. And I was like, they don't even have nobody saying that we agreed. It would be in the indictment. They would have the evidence saying that we all told the doctor what it is. And she said, yeah, the feds, the prosecutor told my attorney, I remember the phone call hearing it. He said it was all mutual understanding. They didn't have to, it was all mutual understanding, agreement.
So basically
unspoken,
the agreement between you and the business partners to do this.
To overlook it, to oversee it. When we seen the doctors what they're doing, and they kind of knew that if they didn't prescribe a certain amount, we'd fire them or let them go, and they knew what the standard was. So, and so then I asked my attorneys, I was
That's very abstract.
Yeah, so, but here's the problem though. So as I said, well, where's the guidelines? I want it in black and white. Like, why don't they have the guidelines in here, what you can do and what you can't do? What's unspoken guidelines? It's like a battle of the specialist type. So when we went to trial, we hired the specialist for Harvard, the Harvard pain management, the one that wrote the book for the feds on pain management. And she showed up and said that what we were doing was legit. They brought theirs in, and come to find out, their specialist was just he was being threatened to be indicted. So he got in trouble. He was in trouble. So the feds went to him and said, hey, listen.
They leveraged him.
Yeah. So how they do it is, so let me tell you how they do it. So what they done with him is that they took him and said, listen, we got you, but if you work for us, we won't indict you. And you're going to come and work for us until we say you're done, and we won't indict you. So
they come give expert testimony.
You can give expert because as long as he's not indicted, he can do it. And we can't bring it to things. So we found out this. So we found out. I can't remember how we found out. We brought it to them. They're like, well, you can't tell the jury because he's never indicted.
An indictment.
They're holding an indictment he's never got. They're holding it to force him to come in there and say what they want him to say. So now they got him to come and say everything they did was wrong. So we weren't allowed to tell the jury that he's been in trouble, but he hasn't been charged yet because he hasn't been charged. So you can't tell the jury. So they're holding it over his head, like leveraging it. So, which is crazy. And you got to remember, at all this time when we were having problems getting the pills and everything else, and like I was telling you earlier, we were talking about like opening up in like Mexico because of the big pharma and everything else, in Bahamas. And a lot of people don't understand is we were trying to work a deal with the Colombian cartel. Or not Colombian cartel, but the Mexican cartels.
You're back in the legal business. Why are you going to Colombian cartels?
Because when we were having the problem with the pharmaceutical companies giving us a medication, we were running out of medication and having issues. So they were cracking down on it, but, you know, cracking down on the pills and everything else. And the DEA was coming in and scrutinizing the operations and everything else and putting a hold to it. But this is before they, you know, shut our things down. We were talking about going out of the country to do it so we didn't fall under the same lines for Purdue and all the manufacturers.
You're back in a supply crunch.
Yep. Supply
crunch has been one of the biggest hurdles from day one.
Well, that's why I wanted to bring it back. Every time I got into this stuff, it's always supply. And if you ever noticed the war on drugs, it's only when the system gets flooded and there's a lot of people ODing and having issues and it starts cutting too much in the spotlight that the government cracks down on it, and then they'll let the floodgates back open. And when it's the same thing. So the reason why I mention this is because my prosecutor finally told my attorney, I can't remember how it came to me, was like, the only reason why this came about is because of the fact that too many white suburb kids were ODing on this and using it to the point where they had to do something. And Purdue Pharma had lobbied Congress so much, and they had so much power and pull that none of them were going to go down.
They got to send a message to the public. We're here to do something about the opioid
we
crisis.
are doing something. We are tackling this. We're fighting it. So, because when we went to trial, I asked my prosecutor during one of the breaks, I said, where's John Sender and all the drug reps for Purdue? Why ain't they here? Because I heard my co-defendants had cooperate and debriefed on them.
Oh, that's good.
He said, Washington told us to stand down, that they were untouchable. I said, so I'm touchable, but they're not? They'd never been prosecuted to this day. And they're the ones that were meeting. See, I never talked to my doctors. I never told them what to do or anything. They were meeting with the doctors, with the ex-DEA agent, Louis Fisher, which never got indicted either. They would have meetings with the doctors to give them the new rules, the new guidelines, the new stuff, because Purdue would send their head reps out to educate the doctors. So every time a drug rep shows up, he says, here's a new product. This is how you prescribe it. This is what it does. And he knows everything about the drug. So they would meet with them, go over everything.
Don't worry, it's not addictive.
Yeah. This is how you do it. This is how you tell the signs. But he's not in trouble, but I am, and I never spoke to my doctors. And not one person ever. So my first trial was a month long. 7 people cooperated against me, and I was found not guilty.
Wow.
And so in the feds, it's only
Wait a second. Don't they always get convictions if they go to trial?
So 98% of the people take a plea deal because of how harsh they are if you're found guilty. And I think it's like 0.2 of 1% win trial.
Dude, you're such an outlier.
So it's 99.8% lose with taking plea deals or in trial, and only like 0.2 of 1% win.
Didn't you tell me what they were basically saying is life or trial?
So, yeah. So the problem is I was going to get 15 years or life, because if I lose in Florida, it automatically gives me a life sentence in Georgia. Automatically. Because if you go in with the amount of drugs I had and then you have a prior drug charge, it automatically gives a life.
Escalates.
On my thing. So it escalates a life. So when I ended up going, so now I beat the feds. My prosecutor
Did you feel like you're out of the woods?
Well, I beat the worst case. So I thought that I had the upper hand on the second one. I'm like, okay, I got a really good attorney. I beat the hard case. My prosecutor sat down with me when the jury was out 3 days. And we were eating lunch in front of a restaurant, and the prosecutor, DEA, and FBI was walking down on their lunch break too with us. And was like, hey, you mind if I sit down? I said, I don't care. So my mom, it says she don't care. And Brooke says she don't care, my attorney. So they sit down and they were like, Jason, listen, we didn't want to do this to you. He's like, I'd rather had you as a credible witness, not as this. He goes, I'm a seasoned prosecutor. He goes, what did he say? He said that I've never been beaten in a drug conspiracy ever once in my career. He's like 60 years old or something, right? He says, I feel like you're going to be the first person that's ever done it. And he says, and he told me, he says that conspiracy was designed for John Gotti and the mob. And he said that it was only supposed to be used for them. It was created for them. And he said that
it worked really well, so they hung on to it.
Yeah, well, he said it straight up. He's like, the problem with this is that the jury instructions were written to never be beaten.
Ugh.
And he told me, he says, please take a plea deal in Georgia. If not, Jason, they're not going to stop. Even if you beat them there, they're going to keep coming and coming and coming until you go to prison. You're going to make an example out of you if you don't take a plea deal. So he begged me. I took him to trial. It was a month long. My attorney turned on me and laid down.
What's something like that cost to get to the trial?
$600,000, somewhere around there, about $600,000. And so that's mock jury. So I spent $50,000 for a jury consultant. I spent I don't know how much money on mock juries. So I would set because nobody knew how to fight these. So they would hire jurors.
No one's really prosecuted this yet, really?
Nobody.
Oh God! So you're having to y'all guys are having to figure out the whole thing.
Yeah, they are too. So nobody knows how it's going to go. So I tried to get the same. We hired the same professor to come in to talk about it. They threatened her, so she withdrew at the last minute. We couldn't find nobody to replace her, so we didn't have no drug specialist come in to talk. A professor. They threatened my attorneys of money laundering if I didn't take a plea deal, or if I won a trial, they were going to hit them with money laundering. Because all they had to do was prove 1 penny of that money was ill-gotten gains that I gave them, because I paid them mainly all cash. And
that would be probably pretty easy to do.
Pretty easy to do. So they laid down, didn't fight. And let's just say I was found guilty and got 15 years in federal prison.
I've never been anywhere near that. I don't even have a clue what it looks like. But if you're looking at life or 15 years, 15 years means you still have a life.
Yeah, but I knew I did wrong in the past, and I was willing to go to prison for that. And I was willing to go to prison if they can show me what I did wrong. But I get it. It was just karma coming back and getting me. But I'm not taking a plea deal for something you allowed me to do and you approved me to do it and then watch me do it and then tell me what we were doing wrong if we were, and then come in and say you're going to give me 15 years for something that you created, something you built and allowed me to do. And meanwhile, nobody else besides us low-hanging fruit are going to prison when all the big guys are not. It's hard to swallow that pill. I just couldn't do it.
That's so much has happened in a 15-year span in your life, from you testing out marijuana trade now to here. You won. You're thinking, oh my gosh, I got a shot at it. Boom, the second one you lose.
Yep.
That's a tough day in your world.
Oh yeah.
What are you thinking when you hear the jury render their verdict? What's going on in your mind?
I wasn't thinking.
Were you back to the tunnel vision?
All I remember is turning around. No, it wasn't. I seen it coming. I prepared for weeks knowing that my attorney laid down. I just remember turning around and my ex is holding my daughter, and my daughter's just looking at me with these eyes that still to this day that I can't get that haunt out of my eyes. And that, people ask me all the time, would you do it again? And do you regret it like that? I said, if I didn't have my daughter, I would have went twice as hard, because I'm only hurting myself. None of it punishes me. You know what I'm saying? Like, the thing you got to realize is to see the hurt in her eyes and all the years I lost and what I done to her destroys me every day. Every day.
Gosh.
I can move on for what I do, my mistakes. Jamie, my ex, can move on and find somebody else. She's a big girl. But what you do to your kid that deserves to have it, yeah. I would trade it for the world. People ask me all the time, I'd trade it for the world.
Wow.
I'm trying to get in. I've been speaking to youth. I want to do more of it, because the one thing that people don't understand, and I tell people this all the time, everybody kept telling me, all you can do is get 5 years. First time in trouble, you get 5 years. 5 years. It's all you ever hear. Oh, man, you'll just get 5 years. Just, no big deal. You fight. No, it's not true. It's a lie.
You were a poster boy, though. You were an example. You were a message to the American public during the opioid crisis that the government's going to do something about it.
Yep. And I was told that. My judge even said the reason why he didn't give me life, because they asked for life during my sentencing. My PSI came life. The prosecutors knew they wouldn't get it, so they asked for 30. PSI asked
prescribing medication outside the guidelines, life?
Yep. Because the amount of drugs, because I scored out, it was millions and millions, tens of millions of pills. So we scored out the drugs, and then we got 2 points for having money and drugs, and then I got another 3 points for leadership role, which gave me 43 points. 43 points, category 0, never been in trouble before as an adult, is life all the way across the board. It's life all the way across. 43 is life.
Oh, that's how they looks like a scoring metric
Yep,
for
yep,
punishment.
Yep.
Oh wow, I know that.
Yep.
So okay, 15 years, but you didn't do 15.
No, after 8 years, when COVID hit,
How does
Trump,
that work? If it's federal time, you do a certain percentage.
85%.
Oh shoot, that's
I would have
most
done,
of it.
so 15, I do 13 on it. So 8 years in, COVID hits. COVID hits, I get out on home confinement due to COVID overpopulation.
You're not expecting this. You're
No.
a little more than halfway through.
Yes, a little more halfway
So
through.
in your mind, you're prepared. You got another half a dozen years left.
Yeah, I don't even know I'm coming home. I don't tell nobody. The only
What
person who knew
happens?
was
Do
my
you
mom.
get a call? Someone's like, "Hey, Jason, we need to see you." Like,
No,
how do you
so
even know?
they had a town hall meeting in prison, and they were like, "Hey guys, listen, if you have 50% of your time done, good behavior, first time, nonviolent, all this stuff, we're going to be putting your paperwork." And it took a year for me to get the paperwork put in because
and you're like, "Holy
everything's
shit!
wrong.
Wait, I'm that."
Yeah. So they kept denying me and kept changing the thing. So I finally got it. I'm coming home. And then after 3.5 years of being on home confinement, Trump comes in office, or no, right before Trump comes in office, Biden gives all of us clemency. So I got a clemency from the president.
What exactly does clemency mean?
Means your prison sentence and stuff is squashed, gone. Means so the remaining couple years I wasn't supposed to come home until January of 2026
So you're being let out early due to the COVID,
on home confinement. I
but
was on
whatever
house arrest.
remaining sentence you had is basically terminated.
Terminated. Yep.
But you're still out on parole. Is
No,
that
not
right?
parole. I'm on a money probation. So because they hit me with a fine, and that fine is civil. So I'm on this type of a probation that's where they monitor my assets, my money income and stuff because it's technically a fine or
So they give you a
whatever.
restitution or charge you with the prosecution costs?
yeah, in which they gave me like $4.3 million.
Oh my gosh!
So they didn't renew
that wasn't like damage or something. That was prosecution costs.
Yeah, because what they do is they estimated that they feel like there's that much money still out there that they're looking for. So they do it to hurt you, to hold you, to keep you not kick you while you're down type thing. They can only keep it on you so long. They have to renew it after 10 years. They can only renew it once, and they didn't renew it. So with everything going on, I think I got like 2 more years of this, and then it's all gone and done with.
Golly, man. We've talked about pieces of this throughout the day, some, but I've intentionally tried to not go linear through this. But when you listen to this entire 15-year story, like you're 42, man.
Yep.
You're young. You have 3 lifetimes worth of stuff that's happened to you.
Yeah, and it's pretty crazy because when I talk to the screenwriters and I tell them all this stuff, they're just jaw drops. Like, does it ever end with you? And I'm
So
like, these are guys that are writing stories like big people, like doing
Documentaries.
crazy stuff. Yeah, doing all
So
kinds
then
of stuff.
let me ask you that question. Right now, is it over?
They don't stop messing with me. Everything that I've done is over. The lifestyle is over with, but the consistent of them.
You feel like you're still going to have some eyes on you?
Yeah, they told me. The
frankly,
day I got off.
Let's think about it for a minute. To be honest, if you had a 15-year run of so many different things, and object in motion tends to stay in motion, in their mind, you know how it works too. When once people get in the system, I've heard they continuously. So the odds are
that I'm not going to stop.
Right. So from all the time I've spent with you while you've been visiting here, in my opinion, I'm like, dude, cleaned up.
Well, the thing is here's you got to realize is that the only thing that's stopping me, and I'm not going to lie, is the amount of time. A life sentence, I can't do that.
It's everything. Right now, it's all or nothing.
Yeah, it's all or nothing. And it's like, and the thing
If
about
there's
it
something
is
that you get maybe a 5-year deal, but with what's behind you, you ain't getting 5 years for anything.
not getting 5
You
years
get
for
lifetime for a damn traffic ticket.
I mean, even if they gave me 30, it's still a life sentence for me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You do 27 or 26 and a half, that's a life sentence. So, the one thing that I did learn out of this that I could take out and a lot of other kids could take out of it is that if you put the amount of effort and time as you put into what I did, because drug dealing is not easy. I don't care what anybody says. It's a full-time job.
Dude, like we talked about, it's a full business.
It's just like running a corporation. If you would put that time and effort into a business and the amount of time that I've done in prison and everything else, you'd have a multi-million-dollar company right now living a good life.
So you did build a multi-million-dollar company, but it was in the gray area.
Yeah.
Which is why you didn't get to keep it.
Yeah, and if I had to put all that energy, and I'm 42 now, and I started one in my young 20s, it would be a multi-million-dollar company right now in my 40s, and I'd be sitting fat, not having to worry about nothing.
Yeah. Wow, what a story, dude. There's so many pieces to that. that I just look at them all in segments. And like I said a minute ago, that's like 3 lifetimes worth of stuff. And I'm shocked that at 42 years old, you can say, all right, this stuff is behind me. Like, you basically have another 40 years to go. So where are you headed? Because you got 40 years in front of you. That's not going to be like the last.
Real estate. So I'm working on this movie deal, and my next move is going to be real estate. I keep going back to it. This time I want to, everybody talks about there's a shortage in low income homes. So my goal, I don't want to get into flipping. My goal is going to get into buying like 5 to 10 lots that are all close to each other and building spec homes, like little 3-2s, where I can get a deal where I'm building, like pouring 3 slabs, plumbing 3 houses, doing electric on 5 houses. So I can get a better deal at building 5 houses. So instead of saying, what's it going to cost for 1 roof? What kind of deal are you going to cut me on 5 roofs all at once? So when you finish one, you just go to the next one. It's all within a couple blocks. So I can get the cost down and, make money on it. I'm going to get back into doing stuff like that. It's not a lot of money, but I don't need to make a ton of money.
What did you learn out of all that from having no money, lots of money, no money, lots of money, and then it changed? Like, what did you learn about money? And
money only builds happy. Money only makes happiness once you can pay your bills and you don't have to worry about the cost of what you're going to do.
So it's from 0 to a couple $100,000 a year.
I'd say 200. If I can make $250,000 a year, I'm happy, because at that price right there, I can have my nice little what I got going on. I don't care what anybody says. If you can't live a good life of $250,000 a year, that's cleared.
Yeah, you
got problems, because $250,000 a year, you're talking $20,000+ a month. You know what I'm saying? So like, how do you not live on that? That's paying your bills, going on trips, doing what you want to do, and not worried about the cost of going out to dinner every night. When you can go out to dinner every night and not look at the menu price and just order off the menu what you want, and your bills are paid and you drive something nice, that's 90% of it.
Yes. Anything above that, even from there to being worth $100 million, it's probably 10% change.
Yeah, exactly.
Not a big deal.
Be honest with you, you actually get the happiness goes down.
Oh, diminishing return. What did you learn about people throughout all this?
You can trust people up to a certain extent. What I've learned is you put everybody in categories. Okay, some people are good in this category, but not good in this one. You can't lump people all together. So I've learned that you have to. I got people like, but I don't understand, Jason, you do this with him, but you won't with that. And I said, because I trust him here, but he's not that type of a person. He's only good for this. And I'm like, doesn't make that he's a bad person. That's just who he is. So I've learned to put people in categories. And I've learned at the end of the day, you can't trust nobody when you put them in a corner. You can't. You can't trust nobody
when
because
they got no options.
When you force them in the corner, they're going to come out swinging, however which way it goes. Very few people are going to get put in that corner and stay in that corner and allow the pressure to be pushed on them. Most people are going to fold. You got to learn to categorize everybody, what they're good for, what their qualities are, and what their disadvantages are. And you have to weed out, when you're looking to do certain things, what is their good and their bad. And you got to figure out what is going to be the best fit for what you need to use it for. Friends are there to use, just like you are there for their benefit. A friend's not a friend if you're not using each other.
Right. It's got to be mutual. You give me something, I give you something. Like, we both get something.
I was given too much, and I was given too much, and they wouldn't do nothing. So I came home. I cut a lot of people out of my circle. My brother was like, I can't believe you cut such and such. I'm like, yeah, but look what this. He goes, nah. He goes, I never thought in a million years you were going to come home and wipe this many people clean. I said, I learned.
I'm not happy to hear that you had to have some of the experience you did, but I'm happy to hear those things.
Oh, yeah.
So let me ask you this. What did you learn about you throughout this? The dude you look at in the mirror, like tonight when you get to your hotel and go to sleep, is a remarkably different dude than at 20 years old, 18 years old, who you look at in the mirror.
No. I feel like down deep, I'm still the person. I haven't grown up mentally. I feel like I'm still 25 years old.
What does that mean?
What does that mean? Mentally, I don't know if it's prison that did it to me or what. I feel like I've only matured to a certain level. And then after that, it's like, I feel like when you get to a certain level, you really don't mature. you might not get excited about things, but I feel like you are who you are at a certain age, and you don't really grow past that. Like, you don't want to grow old mentally. So I feel like after I hit like 25, I haven't really grown any older or any more wiser. I think the only thing I've done is just settle down. I think I've just moved slower. That's it. To
Settle down, cool off a little bit.
I think I let little more things roll off, but I don't think I feel like I'm the same person. I feel like I do the same things. I eat the same way. I'm in the same activities. The only thing is I don't have the junky thrill thing no more. Nothing gives me that thrill.
A lot of people age out of that kind of stuff.
But other than that, I honestly can't tell you. I still, down deep, I'm doing backflips with my daughter, doing all kinds of stuff. I don't do it as good anymore, and I'm sore. But I feel like down deep, I'm still 25 years old mentally.
That's kind of a neat thing to have. There's a little bit of youthfulness. There's still a little bit of that in that because everybody changes over time. And I don't know that I like to think of myself as a young guy, but I'm 44 today, so I don't.
But mentally, I'm not. You feel it, but mentally, I mean, tell me you're telling me that mentally you're still changing, or you are still the same man in a way that you are, but you just probably growed a little old, but you're still the same person.
Personality-wise, I would say is very, very comparable, but there are a lot of lessons. I did a lot of drugs and alcohol, and I started ending that in my late 20s. And for me, I don't think I matured much at all until I got clean and sober. Once I got clean and sober, I think there's been a remarkable change. So that's the difference. You didn't have this drug
I didn't have that.
haze.
I'm still doing the business thing. I'm still that mindset of growing.
Right.
I just went from, I quit the illegal stuff and went into the legal thinking, and it's funny, I went legal to go to prison. You know, and the thing is, once I went 25, 26 is when I left the drug game and I started thinking smarter. I left. So I don't feel like I've grown from there. I'm still the same business person. I still love to hunt, fish, do the things I do. I still, whatever. Only thing is I just can't do it.
Different places.
I just can't do it as good no more. I'm not, my body won't let me, but mentally I'm still there.
Yeah.
So I didn't have that. I didn't, the only thing I could say that I learned is just learn how to judge people better. That's all. Other than that, I'm still that same guy that wants to make that money and still wants to hustle. I just, like when I turned 25, I did it a different way. I wanted to go legal, and I'm still that same way.
Wow. Man, this has been fun, dude. We got into the real estate topic a little while, and this is a little different topic than we normally talk about here. But after I heard the way you told stories and how interesting this was, and you sprinkled a little real estate in there, I'm like, man, I got to talk to this guy. So I know, like, my type of podcast is probably different than the kinds that you're usually on. But I want to thank you for doing that and being willing to kind of cross over a little.
Well, this is the second real estate one I've done because you got to realize I did one out in LA. And the thing about it is I was doing real estate, but I was using drug money to do the real estate. And I just show people how, a lot of people do it the legit way or try to do it another way, but I was using real estate as my way of washing money and laundering it. But also I was making a career out of it too. It's just people want to hear about a different twist to it. That's all.
It's a totally different twist to it.
I did it totally different.
Man, this has been great. Jason, I can't thank you enough for doing this. God, this has been fun.
Oh, yeah.
If folks want to get a hold of you, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Just go to my TikTok and Instagram. It's 8UpJ. It's the letter or the number 8, UPJAY. Them are the two social media things that I pretty much answer everybody.
Dude, that's how I got a hold of you.
Yep. Just DM me. I answer everybody. I respond to everybody. I try to. Everybody's so surprised when I answer everybody. They're like, oh my God, nobody else does. But, I want to build that connection with everybody because the plan that I have, like I told you, I'm working on something really big. And I want everybody to have a connection to the story, and support the story when it gets there.
Well, when you make it big in Hollywood, I'll be able to tell my kids, guys, come watch this on TV. I know that guy.
Yeah, I'll be the same guy. It won't change me.
I believe that. After talking to you, I do believe that.
I've been down this road. I'm doing it for my daughter now. It's only for her. I wouldn't be out here trying to tell my story and waste my time if it wasn't for.
See, that's not something the 25-year-old Jason would say. That's the 42-year-old Jason.
No, because I did it. I got out of the drug business to do it for my daughter legally. Everything was that's why I changed for her.
I love it. Thanks for your time today. I appreciate it so much.
It was good.
My commitment to you is to deliver the most interesting, messy, and profitable real estate deals on earth. And in exchange for that, I only ask that you subscribe to this podcast and share it with a friend who can benefit.